Chapter 934, Men's Commitments. Chapter 934, Men's Commitments, Green Dragon Troopers wins. In the arena, the 5 from Green Dragon Troopers used less than half a minute to sweep through their opponents. Furthermore, they were all heavily injured and did not give their opponents any chance to retaliate. At the same time, they also gave them a chance to turn the situation around. No matter how many substitutes a team had, they wouldn't be able to do so. If all 5 of their main team members were crippled, the team would lose the chance to turn the situation around. As he was walking down the arena, the captain of the Green Dragon Troopers stared coldly at Song Qianqian and the others. His eyes were filled with coldness. So powerful, as expected of the first team. To be able to finish the battle in half a minute, it's as easy as pulling rotten weeds out of the ground. This year's champion is very popular. Green Dragon Troopers will definitely continue to be the champion. That might not be the case. There are still the other 3 big college of martial arts training teams. Also, this year's Arrogant Dragon Squad is out of the ordinary. There might be a chance this time. The Arrogant Dragon Squad is indeed strong, and every person has their own unique strength. However, you all seem to have forgotten one thing. That Long Fei is also participating in the alchemy competition, and if he is unable to participate, the Arrogant Dragon Squad is definitely not a match for the Green Dragon Troopers. Your analysis is not bad. At this moment, Xianwu Battle Team wins. The Black Tortoise Battle Team was different from the Green Dragon Troopers. Although the Green Dragon Troopers only used half a minute to win, the Black Tortoise Battle Team used an entire hour. But the results were all the same. When their opponent was crippled, Green Dragon Troopers would cripple him. But when the opponent was the Black Tortoise Guild, they would cripple themselves and prevent them from taking the initiative to attack. He directly and forcefully drained his opponent to death. Vermilion Bird Battle Team wins. Let's move on to the next round. The members of the Vermilion Bird Battle Team walked out of the stage and looked at Song Qianqian's Arrogant Dragon Squad, ridiculing him in their eyes. For hours later, tomorrow's top 4 teams are out. Green Dragon Troopers has 9 points, and his entire body is filled with points. Vermilion Bird Squadron, 8 points, give up 1 match. Team Black Tortoise got 7 points, give up on 2 matches. Arrogant Dragon Squad has 6 points, give up on 3 matches. 4 teams, we are looking forward to tomorrow's finals. The referee loudly announced, under Long Fei's special instructions, Arrogant Dragon Squad gave up on 3 matches. They were respectively competing against Black Tortoise, Vermilion Bird, and Azure Dragon. The other matches were all won. It was not because Long Fei did not want to fight with them. But right now, the Arrogant Dragon Squad's strength was not enough to defeat them. Chun Tianfei had not recovered his strength, and it was difficult for him to use his divine armor as well. However, none of this was a problem. As long as he could enter the semifinals, he wouldn't have to be afraid of having the qualifications to enter the finals. However, what drew everyone's attention was that every member of the Arrogant Dragon Squad would consume 2 things during the competition, a crystal core and a medicinal pill. After the 2 things entered their body, their cultivation instantly soared. Under Fu Shishan's deliberate guidance, many people were discussing what did they take. That thing seems very special. It looks like battle pills medicine. Instantaneous cultivation increased. This is too strong. Just what kind of pill is it? Is there such a pill? The discussions became more and more intense. Be it the consortia, families, or some warriors, even the disciples of the God Emperor Academy were asking around about what the people of the Arrogant Dragon Squad were eating. Everything was going according to Long Fei's plan. Fu Shishan also borrowed Long Fei's influence to start crazily stirring up new power. At the same time, the elders of the drug race, in accordance to the reverse alchemy technique, that Long Fei taught them frantically refined the destiny changer, and a pill that would change the fate of the gods' martial continent appeared. Long Fei wins. Enter the finals. As soon as his voice faded, the entire audience was in an uproar. He really is powerful. He's simply the strongest ruler among all of alchemy. The worst quality pills he can concoct. God's martial continent's #1 alchemy powerhouse. Just as everyone was discussing about this, Long Fei's voice sank as he said loudly, "All of you are speculating about what kind of pill arrogant Dragon Squad is taking? Tomorrow. I will refine it in the finals tomorrow. This pill will change the fate of God's martial continent. Let's wait and see." Finished. Long Fei did not explain any further. This kind of thing was best left in suspense. Only then would there be room for imagination. A medicinal pellet that could change the fate of God's martial continent. These words were too exaggerated. Many alchemy grandmasters disdained it. The ancestral dragon pellet that Long Fei refined was above the 9-dragon pill, but it did not say it would change the fate of the gods' martial continent. What pill could be stronger than a 9-dragon pill? Long Fei's words caused a huge uproar. The discussions about the destiny changer became even more intense. Many people doubted Long Fei's words, and many people believed it, but even more people were trying to guess what kind of pill Long Fei would refine. God Emperor Academy. Everyone in the God Emperor city, and even all the people in the entire immortal domain, were discussing just what kind of pill was Long Fei refining tomorrow. Sister Yunshan, how are the preparations for the destiny changer? After a day of competition, Fu Shishan and the others had to return to the God Emperor city. Long Fei dared to ask them before they left the mountain. Fu Shishan said softly, "Everything is going according to your plan. All victories." "All right. You came to the competition tomorrow." Long Fei suddenly made a decision and turned to the Black Knife. "Black Knife uncle, after the competition tomorrow, I will definitely launch an attack on you first. You two stay behind to protect the Fengyuan Business Alliance. Whoever dares to even touch a single one of you, kill." The Black Knife nodded heavily and said, "Understood." Long Fei was very clear that since the Pan family was always in the shadows, he had to make a thorough plan. There must be no loopholes. This time, he wanted to pull up Pan family by the roots. He wanted to explode the Pan Guax. Yunner said, "Big brother Long Fei, then you must be careful yourself." Long Fei lightly touched Yunner's head and said with a smile, "Yunner, don't worry. Big brother Long Fei is unrivaled. Once I settle God Emperor Academy's matters, I will think of a way to heal your eyes." This was what Long Fei promised the Black Knife. Even if the Black Knife wasn't his arrogant knife King Kong, Long Fei would still do it, because this was a man's promise to a man. Even if he died, Long Fei would finish it. Yunner giggled and said, "Big brother Long Fei, I'm already used to it. I'm fine. You can take care of your matters peacefully." She was optimistic. Once flowers, plants, and trees, blue sky, and white clouds could not be seen in the dark world, who could get used to it? Even if they were used to it, who wouldn't yearn to see light? Long Fei smiled lightly. "Yunner's eyes are more important than anything. Yunner, even if I gave you my eyes, I would make you see the light again." The Black Knife clenched his fists tightly. There was no expression on his face, but his heart was moved. Chapter 935, God Emperor Fairyland. Chapter 935, God Emperor Fairyland late at night. Long Fei arrived at Qiu Wandao's courtyard. At this moment, Dao Feng, Wang Qingshan, and Zheng Qingsong walked out of the ruins' secret room. Their faces were completely red with excitement. Seeing Long Fei, the three of them walked forward. "Young Master Long." Long Fei said, "Have you recovered Dao Feng said excitedly. I've recovered. I'm stronger than I was 3 days ago. The auras on their bodies were very thick, and it could be seen that they had become stronger compared to 3 days ago. This was all because of the effect of Qiu Wandao's secret training. It was also because of the change that Long Fei had brought to their destiny changer. In just 3 short days, the destiny changer had shown too much effect. Long Fei was even more certain in his heart that the destiny changer could change the gods' martial continent, or even the world. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "That's good. It's your turn tomorrow." Zheng Qingsong was extremely excited and said, "I've been waiting for this day for a long time." Long Fei said, "You all will be resting at logistics department for the night. I still have some matters to discuss with him." After Dao Feng and the others left, Qiu Wandao walked over and smiled. "Kid, the people you're looking for all have good innate skills. This is just secondary. The key thing is that they all dare to fight and train as hard as they can. This is something very rare, although talent is important, but from them, I can see that hard work is most important. And the destiny changer you gave me, this kind of pill is really too heaven-defying." Even Qiu Wandao had to be shocked. He was once the dean, so what kind of pill had he not seen before? However, the destiny changer's effect surpassed all pills, and was a type of supporting pill that could change a warrior's life. Just as Long Fei had said, it could change this world's pills. Long Fei understood the attributes of destiny changer very well. However, he could not try out the specific effects because his body was different from a normal martial artist's. He could not train like an ordinary martial artist. After obtaining the result from Dao Feng and the others, this pill was even better than he had expected. As long as this pill entered the market, there would be no god's martial continent left. Long Fei laughed and said, "Presbyter Qiu, God's martial continent, is very weak. I have read through secret history before, and in the past 10 million years, there hasn't been a single powerhouse that managed to ascend. All of them have died of old age due to longevity restrictions, turning into a pile of luss. Although I am not that great, I still want to change a little. Even a little is fine." Initially, Long Fei only wanted to make money using the Destiny Pellet, but since the effect of the Destiny Pellet was this strong, then his ambition would be even bigger. "All right," Qiu Wandao's expression was very excited and said, "If only every alchemy master could think like you did, then this pellet would definitely bring a different future for God's martial continent. Brat, you are really different." Long Fei laughed. In his heart, he was actually still thinking about earning money. Save the God's martial continent, that was just in passing. He needed a large number of fairy stones to nurture the hell core. And then, Long Fei asked, "Presbyter Qiu, are there any high-level secret world S? The more demon beast, the better it is." He wanted to level up. He wanted to break through. What happened in the martial arts arena today made him feel that it wasn't as simple as he thought. Just whose are the 8 Fairy Hall Elderess? Why had Pan Zhan never been excited at all when he had been sitting so steadily like a mountain? All of these made Long Fei uneasy. He previously thought that the Supreme God was helping him, but now that he thought about it, he felt that something wasn't right. No matter what, only if you're strong enough, you can crush everything. The reason why Long Fei came here tonight was so that he could break through again, level himself up, and become even stronger. Facing the powerhouse of the Golden Immortal rank, his strength was insufficient. Qiu Wandao looked at Long Fei's serious expression and said, "Do you know why I have been living here all this time? Even if I am chased away by the God Emperor Academy and chased away by the Palace Question of God, I still won't leave? Even though I'm in ruins right now, I've never thought of leaving?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "I don't know. Could it be that there is some secret hidden here?" The old man from the Qing Yun sect smiled. We are protecting the god Emperor Fairyland. Huh. Long Fei's heart trembled and said, God Emperor Fairyland? Moreover, this was the first time Long Fei had heard of this secret world. In the history of the God Emperor Academy, this name had never appeared before. Qiu Wandao slightly said, God Emperor Fairyland. Even those people from Palace Question of God do not know about this. God Emperor Academy, God Emperor City, or even... Qiu Wandao looked at the pitch-black sky. What was in the sky? Outer Space Palace, Palace Question of God. Qiu Wandao did not continue, and said, This secret world has hitherto been the strongest in the gods' martial continent, and the first person he discovered was your father. My father? Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart, and asked, What exactly is inside the god Emperor Fairyland? There must be something very important about them. Qiu Wandao shook his head and said, I don't know, I think only your father knows what's inside. He went in once but came out in a short half a minute, and from then on he never went in again, and he never told me either. However, he once said that if you were to enter, he wanted us to open the secret world for you. As he said this, Qiu Wandao looked at Elderly in green, and their hearts suddenly filled with shock. He suddenly understood that everything was as if he had arranged for it several years ago. How did their master know that Long Fei was going to enter at that time? Could this be the Long family's great prophecy? Humph! Qiu Wandao exhaled deeply in his heart and silently said, Long family is too mysterious. He thought that he understood his master Long Zhanting very well. But now, they discovered that what they understood was probably just the tip of the iceberg. The people of the Long family were much more powerful and mysterious than they had imagined. They were an existence that they could not see through at all. The calamity of the Long family, the calamity of the dragon domain. Long family's decadence for the past millions of years seemed to be. It wasn't like how it looked on the surface, as if everything was hiding something. What was it? No one knew. I am afraid the person who is most clear on this is Long Zhanting. Humph! Long Fei exhaled heavily and said, Presbyter Qiu, I want to enter the God Emperor Fairyland. Qiu Wandao's brows tightened and said, Little Master, although Master told me to let you in if you wanted to, it will definitely be very dangerous inside. Do you want to wait until you become stronger before going in? They were all worried. That year, when Long Zhanting entered the fitted realm, he was blasted out half a minute later. Long Fei said, I don't have time now. Tomorrow is the last day of the academy competition. I have to go all out. Presbyter Qiu, open the God Emperor Fairyland. Chapter 936. Entering the Secret World. Chapter 936. Entering the secret world, regardless of what was in the God Emperor Fairyland, what Long Fei needed the most right now was to level up. Only by leveling up would his power become stronger. Tomorrow was the final day of the academy competition. He had a feeling that something was definitely going to happen. The president of the 18 matrial halls would cause trouble. Sky-separating clan knew how to cause trouble. Even Supreme God-S of the Palace Question of God could cause trouble for him, and these were all unknown. The only thing he could do was himself, to constantly make himself stronger. Long Fei looked at Qiu Wandao seriously and said, Presbyter Qiu, activate it for me. He had no choice. There wasn't enough time to go somewhere else, so he could only enter the secret world-s that were special. Qiu Wandao loosened his fists and said, All right, follow us. The three of them jumped into the ruined secret room. Then he came to a wall carved with dragons. 9 dragons' drama beads. The dragon sculpture on Long Fei's wall resonated strongly within his heart, as if this powerful scene had appeared at some point in time. Very familiar. Long Fei thought slightly, Could it be that the God Emperor Fairyland is related to the dragon race as well? God Emperor Fairyland doesn't even know about the people from the palace question of God. Could it be that the dragon tail tomb is hiding inside, or could it be hide a certain dragon ancestor? Long Fei was a little excited in his heart. As long as he saw a dragon, Long Fei would naturally link the dragon race together. If he could open the dragon tail tomb, then he would only have his last dragon claw. The equipment is ready. Qiu Wandao and the elderly in green both stood to the side, facing the middle of the 9 dragons, which were also on the left and right side of the flame-like bead. The 2 of them exerted their strength at the same time. The power of Celestial was surging. Long Fei was stunned by the scene before him. The stone bead actually began to heat up, turning into a crimson red, and finally it began to burn like a fire pearl. The whole dragon-carved wall seemed to want to come to life as well. It was extremely lifelike. Moreover, their bodies were gently moving and writhing, causing one to feel fear in their hearts. Buzz. A powerful force enveloped Long Fei. Swoosh. The moment the force was retracted, before Long Fei could have any reaction, it was instantly sucked away and disappeared from where he was standing. Qiu Wandao and elderly in green withdrew their powers. Looking at the slowly dimming wall, Qiu Wandao said lightly, "Young master, be careful in everything you do." Elderly in green asked, "Old bastard, what exactly is inside?" Qiu Wandao said, "You don't know, and I'm sure you don't know, but do you think I know more than you do? There's one thing I'm sure you don't know." Elderly in green was interested. "What?" Qiu Wandao looked at the wall and said gently, "Only the people from the Long family can enter this wall." Could it be the dragon domain? Elderly in green was startled. Disappeared. Why did it disappear? Palace question of God. In the secret room of the supreme God. His expression was somewhat anxious because Long Fei's figure suddenly disappeared in the great void mirror. It was completely out of his sight, causing his heart to thump hard. The god's martial continent still doesn't have any place that the great void mirror can't reach. How did Long Fei suddenly disappear? Where did you go? Long Fei was very important to him. It was his only hope, and he was growing more and more convinced that Long Fei was the prophet's son. But now it had disappeared. The center of Supreme God's brows tightened as the idea moved. Half a second later, 19 phantoms stood in the secret room and respectfully said, "Supreme God, you summon me late at night. Is there something urgent?" The Supreme God said, "Search for Qiu Wandao's residence. Immediately, you must find Long Fei for me." Once it was locked on by the great void mirror, the dead zone would not be able to escape. Unless he was dead. The Supreme God was very worried. After looking forward to so many years, Long Fei was already very close to the dragon domain. He could not just die like this. If he died, his master would also die. As for him, he would also die. Long Fei could not die, at least for now. 19 immediately said, "Disciple understands." Supreme God said, "Immediately go investigate. Remember not to be discovered by Qiu Wandao and the others." In another place, God Emperor City, Pan family. Pan Zhan's face was flushed red. With a smile on his face, he looked at Pan Sheng, who was in the hall, and could not help but become excited. The higher you stand, the more painful it will be falling. Let him reach the highest point, and then ruthlessly trample him to death. Only then will we be able to show the power of our Pan family. Hi. It really is high. The higher-ups of Pan family gathered in secret. Pan Sheng was wearing a black cloak. He, who should have left the palace question of God tomorrow, came down tonight. Pan Sheng smiled. "Uncle Pan Zhan, this time I will not let him escape. I will trample him on the stage, and I will definitely take revenge for Pan family." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. All the higher-ups of the Pan family in the hall started laughing. "Young master, what is your cultivation level now? Why can't I sense your cultivation level? Could it be that you have already surpassed the golden immortal rank?" An elder asked. Everyone looked at Pan Sheng. They were all the same, unable to sense Pan Sheng's current realm of martial arts training. There were only two possibilities. One reason was because he had a spirit treasure that could conceal his cultivation realm. The other method was that the difference in cultivation between the two was too great, so much that one would not be able to sense the aura of the powerhouse. Pan Sheng smiled faintly and said, "You will know tomorrow. Long Fei, just you wait and see how I'll kill you." Both of Pan Sheng's fists clenched slightly as a hint of a cold smile emerged on his face. One of the clan elders asked, "Great clan elder, should we take care of the Fengyuan Business Alliance?" These 2 days, Fengyuan Business Alliance's actions were very ordinary. Furthermore, because of the glory of the God Emperor Academy, the Fengyuan Business Alliance that they had previously suppressed on the ground and could not climb back up once again entered everyone's field of vision. Right now, many people were discussing about the Fengyuan Business Alliance. The corner of Pan Zhan's mouth curled up as he said in disdain, "There's no need. Once Long Fei dies, Fengyuan Business Alliance will disappear along with him. There's no need to worry." One of the elders asked, "Then what about the pill that Long Fei refined?" Pan Zhan said, "A pill refined by a dead person will be useless no matter how good it is. Humph, if he doesn't have a life, I want to see how he will change the world." Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. In the main hall of Pan family, loud laughter rang out. Pan family did not attack him, because Long Fei was the center of everything. As long as they destroyed him, everything would collapse on its own. No one could stop the Pan family's footsteps. No one. After Pan Zhan saw Pan Sheng, Pan Sheng had already metamorphosed over half a year ago, and he now believed even more that Long Fei could not resist against him. Tomorrow, he would definitely die. In another place, in the God Emperor Fairyland, as Long Fei looked at everything before him, his eyes revealed extreme shock. Even his voice was somewhat shaky as he muttered to himself, This is the God Emperor Fairyland." Chapter 937, Special Systems, Skill Exchange. Chapter 937, Special Systems, Skill Exchange Grave. Graveyard, large and small. Many names were written on the tombstone, the tomb of the Heaven Marshal, Immortal Wu Ao Tian. Wu Ao Tian. Third level of the Soaring Sky Realm, 486 years old, current number 1 powerhouse, failed his tribulation. Walk alone to the tomb of the 10,000 ghosts. Ghost 1-2, 4th level of the Soaring Sky Realm, 477 years old, failure to transcend the tribulation. The tomb of the Celestial Arrogant Lord. Mengfang, 6th level of the Soaring Sky Realm, 494 years old, number 1 madman in the Magic Tribe, failed to transcend the tribulation. Each tombstone recorded a person's name, cultivation level, and age at which he lived. These were all different. The only similarity between them was that they had all died from the failure of transcending tribulation. It was all because he failed his tribulation. Long Fei looked at each and every one of them, and his scalp started to turn numb. Failure to pass the tribulation are all failure to pass the tribulation, and they are all supergiant powerhouse of the Soaring Sky Realm. Long Fei looked up and saw that they were all tombs as far as the eye could see. He was overwhelmed with shock as he muttered, "It's too scary that so many Soaring Sky Realm powerhouse have appeared in the gods' martial continent. But the heavenly tribulation is even more terrifying." It was hard to imagine. Long Fei was completely flabbergasted by what he saw. He thought that the necropolis of the gods' martial continent's powerhouse had been stolen by the Rage Spirit clan. He never thought that the tomb stolen by the Rage Spirit clan was only the tip of the iceberg. Even worse, if these powerhouses' corpses were dug out and absorbed, what would happen? Long Fei's heart trembled. However, he did not think of doing so. He couldn't absorb it either. The Rage Spirit clan's cultivation method was very unique. Long Fei could not learn it. Long Fei continuously went deeper into the cemetery, continuously searching. He felt it was very strange. Why is there not a single person with the surname of Long? Isn't the Long family's calamity the heavenly tribulation? Long Fei suspected that it was heavenly tribulation. However, he did not see any names of people from the Long family. The deeper they went, the more the cemetery seemed endless. The deeper they went, the higher the cultivation level of the dead became, and the older they were. However, they were all killed by the heavenly tribulation before the age of 500. This also let Long Fei know that the limit of a warrior's life was 500 years. It was the limit of the soaring sky realm. If you can't succeed in transcending the tribulation, you'll either die of old age or be killed. Even after walking for more than an hour, Long Fei was still unable to see the end of it. Moreover, Long Fei did not sense any aura at all. It was completely different from what Qiu Wandao said. This place was not dangerous at all. Long Fei muttered, "What's the use of running to a dead person's location? Without demon beast and monsters, how am I supposed to level up?" While they were talking, Long Fei was a little angry. He used a little bit of strength in one kick and kicked over a tombstone. He was stunned for a moment, then immediately said, I'm sorry, I really shouldn't have." Just as Long Fei was talking, the grave where Long Fei kicked, the tombstone began to crack. A powerful aura surged out, causing Long Fei's face to tremble. He was not afraid, but instead excited a little, and thought to himself, could it be that all the dangers are in these tombs? Boom! With a loud explosion, the tomb exploded. A person rushed out from the tomb as he shouted. A little thief actually dared to trespass into the God Emperor's tomb. The man's hair was as red as blood. His entire body was suffused with a dense demonic aura and was incomparably savage. Beside him stood a sword, a large sword burning with demonic flames. Moreover, his eyes stared at Long Fei and instantly crushed Long Fei. Long Fei glanced at the name on the tombstone and said faintly, "Dugu Qiubai, you're the sword demon?" This is the characters in the novels. Long Fei was a little confused, but when he saw the groove on the sword demon's head, he laughed and said, "Sword demon, right? I really don't want to disturb your sleep, but I can only let you down if I want to level up." As soon as he finished, Long Fei roared in his heart, "Level 7 Peerless, open!" The powerful force broke through the pressure. Long Fei's right hand moved, and the dragon's salure dropped down, slashing at the sword demon. Boom! The bloody wound on the sword demon's head instantly disappeared. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying 9th grade virtual immortals' sword demon. Reward: 1,500 experience points, 10 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +1. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special system, skills exchange system. This time, Long Fei was really a little confused. Dugu Qiubai's sword demon had actually been chopped to death by his saber. How could he not be dazed? It was clearly written on the tombstone that he was of the 8th level of the soaring sky realm. This kind of supergiant powerhouse could crush him with a single finger, but he actually killed him in an instant. Something doesn't seem right. Long Fei was shocked. He immediately opened up the system and checked, Virtual Immortals level 9? That's impossible. The tombstone clearly has the rank 9 flying heaven. Could it be that the tombstone recorded wrongly? Skill exchange system. What is this? During the process of Long Fei's upgrade, the system was also continuously evolving and improving. From time to time, it would trigger new functions of the system, which was also a very normal thing. However, the exchange system had already appeared before, but that was points exchange. This time, it was the skill exchange. Long Fei checked it. Special system. Skill exchange system function. Exchange all skills, skill leveling vouchers. Special hint. The special system is random. It can only trigger once for 12 hours. After the time ends, the system disappears. Ding. Would you like to view the exchange skill? Check it out. Long Fei replied. The interface in his mind changed, and many different types of skills and cultivation techniques appeared. They were all skills that Long Fei was extremely familiar with. The blood wheel aperture in the shadow of fire? Is this also a skill? Rachel? Reincarnation. Damn, there are also demon fruits. Long Fei's heart immediately tightened and jumped too fast. The more he looked, the more his heart couldn't take it anymore. Damasia's sword of justice? Nox's big move. The ultimate move of the barbarian king. Angel's ultimate move. I can't do it. I can't do it. Long Fei held onto his heart with one hand as blood started to roll all over the place. Damn it, this old man is going to send it. Ha ha ha. Excited, unspeakably excited. This was because these skills were either from the anime or the hero skill of the game. They were exceptionally valiant. If I can exchange for some immortal cultivation techniques, then who would I be afraid of in tomorrow's large competition? Immediately, Long Fei was so excited that he moved through the air and landed at the entrance and said, "Let the challenge begin from the first. Bring it on. Let this daddy go to heaven." Chapter 938. This rhythm, awesome. Chapter 938. This rhythm, awesome. At first, Long Fei didn't want to be disrespectful to the dead. He was not a member of the Desolate Spirit clan, so he did not know how to steal tombs. But the appearance of the skill exchange system, as well as the fact that it only existed for 12 hours, all depended on these 12 hours of time. Long Fei did not care about the God Emperor's graveyard, where the dead were the most important. In front of benefits, they were all dog shit. The key point was Long Fei was completely unfamiliar with these people. Not familiar? Then do it. Since they were all monsters and the system had activated the exchange system, then what was Long Fei afraid of? One word, fuck. Long Fei hacked a tombstone apart with his blade, causing the tombstone to explode as a powerhouse rushed out. Boom! Powerhouse rushed out of his tomb. His eyes turned sinister as he stared at Long Fei and shouted, "You little thief!" Without waiting for him to finish, Long Fei hacked down with his blade. "I'm your grandpa's thief." Boom! With the fall of the dragon Salyer, the wound on the head of the powerhouse immediately opened up, and Long Fei killed it instantly. Ding! When the system beep rang, Long Fei looked at it again in detail. It was the same as the sword demon, just now, at the 9th stage of the virtual immortals. If they are all of the 9th stage of the virtual immortals, then I will fight 100 of them. The aura on Long Fei's body moved, and the dragon Salyer in his hand released a blazing flame that cut horizontally. Bang, bang, bang. Over 100 tombstones had been destroyed by Long Fei. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, powerhouse after another rushed out from their tombs, standing in the air as they shouted, little thief. I was King blind. I have no time. Helcor, come out." Long Fei did not want to waste even a second of time. He did not want to cultivate now. He wanted experience now and skill redemption point. What do you mean by relying on your own strength? Boss, 1,000 ghost soldiers stood in front of Long Fei. Compared to a month ago, these ghost soldiers had become much stronger, to the point where one or two of them had already broken through to the blood immortal stage. In this period of time, these ghost soldiers felt as if they were celebrating the new year. Not only could it absorb the energy from the immortal crystals to cultivate, it could also absorb the energy from the variant crystal nuclei. Under the guidance of the Yen Huang ancestor, their progress was extremely fast. Long Fei said excitedly, "Blast all these so-called powerhouse S to pieces." "Ha!" Helcor stood up and shouted, then rushed towards the 100 over powerhouse S like a torrent of ferocious beasts. Long Fei was not idle. The dragon salyer continued to sweep across, chopping apart large areas of tombstones and large areas of powerhouse rushing out from their tombs. Kill! The dragon salyer in Long Fei's hand moved. Hurricane cut! Shwa! The dragon salyer raised it, and a strong gust of wind swept out, directly blowing a large part of the powerhouse into the air. Dragon chop 1000 / whoosh whoosh whoosh. Asterisk dragon, slaying dancing in the air. Long Fei also crazily danced in the air as he crazily killed his way through. The scene was extremely eye-catching. At the same time Long Fei killed the 1,000 ghost soldiers, their power exploded forth. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for slaying Virtual Immortals' 9th stage powerhouse for 1,500 experience, 10 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +1. Nothing had been dropped, only a small amount of experience and skill redemption point. However, what Long Fei wanted was skill redemption point. The system frantically sounded out. 10 minutes later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing first rank powerhouse of the Blood Immortal stage for obtaining 3,000 experience, 20 power of celestial, and 1 ability point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +2. Suddenly, Long Fei immediately checked and found a problem. Just now, he had killed 100 of the 9th stage Virtual Immortals' powerhouses. In other words, the challenge of the 9th stage of the Virtual Immortals had ended. These powerhouse S cultivations were now 1 level higher than the 1st stage of the Blood Immortal. In order to confirm this, Long Fei continuously killed them as he thought in his heart. As expected, the 100 powerhouse S advanced to the same level. Their experience, power of celestial, and skill redemption point were all increased by multiple folds. Ha ha! This endless cemetery is my heaven. Long Fei became even more excited. God Emperor Fairyland. It was a special existence. Long Fei himself was at the 9th stage of the Virtual Immortals, so from the first powerhouse to the first powerhouse, he would be at the 9th stage. As he succeeded in his challenge, the level of the powerhouse would continue to increase. Who? Long Fei exhaled a long breath and said, "Come." His aura exploded. Sky Tyrant strike. Rumble. Long Fei arrogantly crashed into the group of powerhouse people, causing them all to fly into the air. The first stage of the Blood Immortal stage was 1 level higher than Long Fei. However, Long Fei still killed him instantly. 15 minutes later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Blood Immortal 2nd stage powerhouse for obtaining 6,000 experience, 40 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining skill redemption point +4. Ha ha! It's getting more and more fun. With a lot of experience and skill redemption point, Long Fei became even more crazy. 2nd level Blood Immortal. Still able to kill him in an instant. Boom, boom, boom. 1 hour later, these powerhouse were already at the 5th stage of the Blood Immortal stage. At this point, they were no longer able to withstand the attacks of these powerhouse. Long Fei also kept them. They were not invincible here, and the powerhouse could see their bodies. Rumble! With a loud noise, a large piece of the tombstone was blasted apart. Long Fei did not stop there. He continued to destroy the tombstones. Behind him, more and more powerhouse came rushing forward, hundreds and thousands of them, looking exceptionally fierce. Come chase me. Hurry up and chase me. Rumble! Long Fei smashed apart another large amount of tombstones. Seeing the large wave of powerhouse behind him, his eyes lit up. It's all skill redemption point. Rumble! For an entire half an hour, Long Fei continuously smashed these tombstones to pieces, and thousands of powerhouses in the surroundings immediately chased after his buttocks. It was also at this time Long Fei suddenly stopped, the corner of his mouth lifted, and excitedly laughed. Little Sister Fei, you can begin. Buzz. Fei flew out from the pearl. That body, that unique charm of the elves, was extremely vivid and beautiful. Fei held onto her magic staff and chanted in a low voice, Power of thunder, listen to my call. Fall for me. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Thunder rumbled as lightning wildly raged down. A round of instant kills. The blood volume above each powerhouse instantly bottomed out. Hundreds of Blood Immortal Realm powerhouse were all crippled, killed in an instant. The system beep as echoed crazily. Long Fei looked at the experience tank, which was abnormally full. This is great. Chapter 939, Gravity Troll Fire. Chapter 939, Gravity Troll Fire. Fei, another wave has arrived. Equipment. Long Fei suddenly roared. He had been chased by a large wave of powerhouse, and now these powerhouse were about to break through the Golden Immortal rank. Moreover, some of the powerhouse S had already reached the Golden Immortal rank. Long Fei could not bear it. Fei was also a little unable to endure it. Power of thunder, heed my call. Boom! The huge lightning field rumbled, and a thick bolt of lightning struck down, causing a large wave of powerhouse S to be unable to take care of themselves, but they did not die instantly, nor did they receive any heavy injuries. It had only lost a portion of its HP. Fei angrily said, Master, they are too strong. I haven't even finished cultivating the power of the thunder element. About that. I'll leave first. Fei was a little depressed and unwilling, and she said fiercely in her heart, I must become stronger. She was hit after being attacked by these powerhouse S. She thought that direct lightning was omnipotent, but now she realized how weak she was. Long Fei's heart trembled. Fei, don't go. Fei had already been transferred into the Thunder Dragon Pearl. It was also at this time, surrounded by hundreds of powerhouse. Long Fei stared at him with murderous eyes, as if they wanted to eat him alive. Flee. Why aren't you running anymore? Discharge. Why aren't you continuing to discharge? Brat, I want to see where you can run to. A of the Golden Immortal rank gasped for breath. He was in a bad mood because of Long Fei. All the surrounding powerhouse were the same. Many of the powerhouse S had their hair blown apart. Their hair was like chicken nests, and each one of them was out of the mainstream as they were in an extremely sorry state. Run again. Die. As soon as his voice fell, everyone stood up and shouted, Kill him! With one step, the powerhouse S all stepped forward. Long Fei smirked and laughed coldly. Kill me? Just you all? Do you all think you're amazing just because your level is high? This daddy here cannot bear to see someone who is so powerful in front of me. Very arrogant. Long Fei said in his heart. Hellcore used it. Fei used it. Now, Giant Demon. The seal on you has broken through, right? Giant Demon's voice echoed from the 18 hells. Master, I have been waiting for your summons. The gravity troll could not wait any longer. Long Fei laughed excitedly and said, "Then let me experience your power that is unrestrained. Come, let me show these superpower house that once ruled this world." "Yes, sir." At the same time, the powerhouse pounced towards Xiang Longfei. Rumble! Rumble! With a series of explosions, an incomparably gigantic devil appeared beside Long Fei. With its arms wrapped with chains of steel, its eyes darkened, and a whirlpool-like aura faintly moved around its body. The moment it came out, the tombstone slowly floated up, as shattered stones floated up in the air, and even the bodies of the powerhouse seemed to be on the verge of losing control and rising into the air. Long Fei said casually, "Kill them all." The gravity troll laughed sinisterly. "Understood. 10,000 times gravity. Gravity bullet, explode." With an angered shout, the spiraling aura on his body immediately burst forth, enveloping all of the surrounding powerhouse. At this moment, all of the powerhouse's body strength was lifted, and in that instant, boom, 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 one after another, their bodies exploded into fine powder. Not even their bones were left behind. Many of these powerhouses have cultivation base of golden immortal rank, but after being crushed by the gravity troll's chi, the seal was released and the gravity troll's power recovered to the peak realm, powerful to the point of being a complete mess. Ding, 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 ding. The system beep frantically sounded, deafening, as though its eardrums were about to explode. Long Fei laughed out loud. "You want my life? Are you even worthy?" The increase in experience points by tons was only Long Fei did not have a rank 5 immortal root yet, so he was unable to level up. However, Long Fei was not worried. Although he was restricted from leveling up, he still had a lot of experience points. As long as he fused with the Immortal Foundation, he would be able to continuously break through. It could not be upgraded, but the experience was still there. It was just that Long Fei could not obtain stronger power until he leveled up. It doesn't matter anymore. What I want is skill redemption point. Long Fei's mind was set as he roared, "Giant demon, swipe, swipe, swipe everything here away." In the past few hours, Long Fei had swept across a large area, but compared to the entire God Emperor's graveyard, it was just the tip of the iceberg. Continue, continue. It's 38,000 skill redemption point. What demon fruit? What blood wheels? If I want to exchange, I'll exchange for a set of skills from the Undying series. Long Fei didn't want anything else. He just wanted. This was the skill of the Barbarian King. 5 seconds for a real man. The gravity troll crazily swept everything. The powerhouse of the golden immortal rank was not his match at all. Long Fei was stunned by the gravity troll's power. He inwardly rejoiced that he had not stolen the 10 holy token question of Goddess for nothing. At the same time, Long Fei moved and said, "Lei Mo." Lei Mo's eyes shook as she became excited. "Master," Long Fei said, "try to think of a way to break the tombstones in this cemetery as much as possible. Beat as many tombstones as you can." Lei Mo didn't know what Long Fei was going to do, but he was still very excited. "Understood." Be it the gravity troll or Lei Mo, they belonged to the demons in the 18 hells, and they all had a time limit on their appearance. As the time to appear on the stage increased from the original 5 minutes to 15 minutes, it became too short for Long Fei. Right now, he needed experience too much and skills and exchange value too much. If their time was up, Long Fei would probably have to pay an extremely heavy price to kill any one of the powerhouse. Thus, he had to think of a good countermeasure, a strategy at all costs. Ding! Congratulations to player. Long Fei for killing Golden Immortal Stage Level 4 Powerhouse for obtaining 160,000 experience, 1,200 power of celestial points, and 1 energy values point. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Skill Redemption Point plus 64 points. It did not increase exponentially like it did at the beginning, but the experience was already quite abundant. Heavenly Level Instance Dungeon. It was a heavenly place to gain experience. Long Fei would not miss it. He definitely wouldn't miss it. 15 minutes later, they covered the sky with their Powerhouse S. These Powerhouse S were all at the peak of the Golden Immortal Realm, and there were even Powerhouse of the Yuan Xian Realm. Master, my time is almost up. Seeing so many Powerhouse, the gravity trolls started to worry for Long Fei. Chapter 940. Exchange point what's good about it. Chapter 940. Exchange point what's good about it. Too much. At least 4 or 5,000. Once these powerhouse erupted, they would use the Yuan CNS and the Fitted Realm S to crush them. If even the Golden Immortal Long Fei could not resist it, there was no need to talk about the Yuan Xian and the Fitted Realm's powerhouse. However, Long Fei was not afraid at all. He was still laughing excitedly. Hee. This is great. Gravity Troll was startled and asked, Master, what do we do? It's too dangerous. Why don't I? Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei said directly, Return to the 18th floor of hell. Leave the rest to me. The Gravity Troll wanted to resist on time. This would cause a blow to his cultivation and affect his future breakthrough. From the day he entered the 18 levels of hell, he was Long Fei's brother. Long Fei would never take his brother's future as a joke. The two of you, go back. Long Fei didn't wait for them to resist, and immediately moved the two of them back into the 18 levels of hell. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The surrounding densely packed powerhouse surrounded Long Fei, from the 9th stage of the virtual immortals to the current Fitted Realm. That also meant that Long Fei's challenge was an entire 30 to 40 levels higher. Of course, other than the rest of the time was spent on killing Hellcore, Feier, and the giant demon. It was impossible for Long Fei to reach this step with his own strength. They took turns. Whose turn was it now? The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly, and he laughed excitedly. The ideas that were linked to the Xianbao spirit stones did not have any hesitation, and he roared out, "Explode!" Ding! System notification. The Xianbao's spirit stones will be activated the second time, 8 more times. As the voice fell, Long Fei's power of celestial value instantly increased by 1,000,000 points, and in that instant, Long Fei also heavily roared out, "Turn Yanlong into God. Come out. Roar." With a furious dragon's roar, Long Fei's body turned into a ball of flame. The flames ignited, and in the blink of an eye, Long Fei's body also turned into a super huge flame dragon ancestor. Standing in midair, Long Fei stared at the powerhouse and became excited. Kill! Those powerhouse simply did not have time to react. They could not react in time. Who would have thought that a 9th stage virtual immortal's realm human would suddenly turn into an extremely frenzied flame dragon patriarch? Mad, explode! With a move of the dragon's might, the sky started to split, and with a heavy stomp, those powerhouse were immediately destroyed. The system beep echoed crazily. The experience points of each powerhouse rose to 280,000, and the skill redemption point also increased to 98. Thousands of powerhouse were being chased around the world by ancestor Yanlong. It was them who were chasing after Long Fei previously, but now it was Long Fei's turn to chase after them. It was a total massacre. They could barely resist the Yuan Xian, but it could only do so as it could not withstand the fire dragon ancestors' dragon might at all. As they continued to kill, the realm of these powerhouse continued to increase. An hour passed, 2 hours passed, 5 hours passed. Long Fei did not stop there. Seeing that the system's countdown timer was getting fewer and fewer, Long Fei started moving faster and faster. Qiu, Wandao, and Elderly in Green had been guarding the walls of the 9 dragons' wall the entire time, as they waited for Long Fei to come out. It's been more than 11 hours. Why hasn't the young master come out yet? Could something have happened? Elderly in Green paced back and forth. He was very anxious. Not just him. Qiu, Wandao was equally anxious. Back then, Master only went in for half a minute before coming out. This time, young Master went in for 11 hours. If he met with any danger, he didn't dare think about it. The Elderly in Green said, "If anything happens to young Master, we cannot afford it. He is the Long family's only hope, and also the old Master's only hope." Long Fei could not afford to let anything happen to him. He was the hope for the rise of the Long family. It was also the hope for him to solve all of these mysteries. If something were to happen to Long Fei, even the Long family would probably be destroyed. The 2 elders were extremely worried. A palace question of God. 19 shook his head and said, "Supreme God, I've checked." When Long Fei came to Qiu Wandao's courtyard, he disappeared without a trace. He didn't go down the mountain either. I don't even know where he went. Supreme God was still staring at the great void mirror, his eyebrows locked tightly. Could something have happened? 19 asked again. Could it be that they were worried about today's finals and all of them escaped? No way. The Supreme God immediately denied it and said, "Long Fei is different from other people. I understand the people from the Long family very well. Even if they die, they will not admit defeat, and even more so, they will not flee. All right, you don't need to investigate it anymore. I believe he will definitely appear in the finals today." Supreme God was worried, but there was nothing he could do. He could only hope that nothing bad had happened to Long Fei. Long Fei was also his hope, the hope to break through the limit of his lifespan in logistics department. At the same time, there were a lot of people who were worried about Long Fei. In the yard, Song Qianqian looked at the sky that was already bright and muttered, "The sky is about to brighten, and a new day is about to begin." Long Fei did not return. She had not slept a single night as she lay on her bed tossing and turning unable to fall asleep. The more Long Fei did not come back, the more worried she became. Today would be the God Emperor Academy's finals. Team competition, alchemy competition, and even personal qualifying fight competition. How much pressure was on Long Fei's body? Song Qianqian could imagine. Sister Qian, senior brother Long Fei will be fine. Ling Long did not sleep well either, and muttered as she walked to Song Qianqian's side. Man Tuoyuo also walked out. She did not sleep, and spent the entire night cultivating, trying to break through the poisoned spirit immortal root in her body. She said, Yong, Master Long has never given up. Next, Xiaoying, Aoya, Han Shueji, and the others also walked to the courtyard. She quietly waited for Long Fei to come back and for the sun to rise. Long Fei had not returned throughout the night. They were extremely worried, afraid that something would happen to Long Fei. But Long Fei, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear. Your experience points has already reached 3 billion. What level can you reach? Wow, once I absorb a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation, won't I have to fly? Long Fei needed tens of millions of experience points to level up. If he were to release all 3 billion experience points, it would be a huge blow to him. EXP bar. In addition, Long Fei was now more concerned about the skill redemption point. 108,700 points. What can be exchanged for? What can be exchanged for? Hee. Time was running out, and it was already dawn. The martial arts arena was already packed with people. There were even more people than 2 days ago. The people of the 18 matrial halls had also appeared in the martial arts arena earlier, and today was the finals, which was also a very important day. To Ouyang Zhan, this was the day of his revenge. To Pan Zhan, this was an unshakable day. The boss hasn't come back yet? Chen Tianfei said anxiously. Song Qianqian said, let's go to the training grounds first. Long Fei will definitely be there. At the same time, in the last minute, Long Fei's heart stirred, and he thought to himself, since I can't care about all that, I'll just exchange for it. Ding. Chapter 941, Despicable and Shameless. Chapter 941, Despicable and Shameless. Why hasn't boss arrived yet? Senior brother Dao Feng, what did boss say to you last night? Why hasn't boss appeared yet? Chun Tianfei frowned, his expression anxious. The match was about to begin. However, until now, Long Fei still hadn't appeared. Dao Feng said, Yong, Master Long, tell us to go first. He did not say where we are going. At this time, Sun Datu ran back while gasping for breath, and everyone looked at him. Sun Datu shook his head. I can't find Yong Master Long. Chun Tianfei immediately took a step forward and asked, have you seen Presbyter Chiu? They should know where the boss has gone to. Sun Datu shook his head and said, we didn't find them either. God Emperor Fairyland was an extremely secretive place. Not to mention Sun Datu. Even the 19 last night could not find the location of Presbyter Chiu, an elderly in green. Song Qianqian frowned. Where did you go in the end? They were all secretly anxious. Song Qianqian exhaled, his gaze firm as he said, Long Fei is not here, but I believe he will definitely rush over. Right now, we must act as if nothing happened and not let Ouyang Zhan and the others see through our weakness. Also, if the Yong Master Long is not here, we absolutely cannot lose today's competition. Long Fei was under too much pressure. Song Qianqian didn't know how to share the burden for Long Fei, so the only thing she could do was to help Long Fei and win the match. Everyone looked at Song Qianqian and nodded heavily. Everyone became full of fighting spirit. For boss. It's also for yourself. F***CK. In the stands, Lu Chongkong asked lightly, why didn't I see Long Fei, that brat, appear? Ouyang Zhan also thought that it was strange, but he did not give it much thought and replied, "Don't worry, he will definitely appear. I've checked the records of the patrols yesterday. He hasn't left the God Emperor Academy. He can escape." Ouyang Zhan also did not know where Long Fei had gone to. But he did not care about that. He only cared about how Long Fei would die today. Xiao Qianwu said slightly, "Could this be Long Fei's scheme? Could he be hiding in the shadows and seeing the sequence of the battle?" Disappearing was a method, because once they thought that Long Fei had disappeared, they would not target Long Fei at all. The timing of alchemy and battle team ranking tournament might change too. This way, when it was open, Long Fei would be able to participate in 2 matches at the same time. Ouyang Zhan sneered. "You want to deceive us with such a small trick? Team competition will go first. Hold the alchemy competition first, so that Long Fei does not have the chance to participate in the team competition." Ouyang Zhan quickly made his decision. Only by doing this could Long Fei be unable to participate in both matches at the same time. He was still fiercely targeted. "Gao, brother Ouyang, you're really amazing. Whether or not Long Fei appears, he will not be allowed to participate in 2 matches at the same time." Many of the academy elders smiled proudly. Ouyang Zhan slightly narrowed his eyes and muttered to himself, "Today I will definitely kill you, and everyone else by your side. They will all have to accompany my son in death. Today is the day of the finals. Alchemy, battle team, refining, and so on and so forth and so forth and so on and so forth and so forth and so forth and so forth and so on and so forth and so on and so forth and so, but the focus of the crowd is still on the ranking tournament of the individual battles, who is the #1 disciple of the God Emperor Academy. Today, the God's general will be born. Let's wait and see." The referee excitedly said. Following that, under Ouyang Zhan's arrangements, he continued, "Next, we will proceed to the first round of team competition, which is also the semifinals." The Blackstone screen began to scroll. A few seconds later, Arrogant Dragon Squad against the Vermilion Bird Battle Team. Please enter the arena with your 2 teams. It's finally about to begin. Who would become the #1 team of team competition in the finals? Discussions were going on in the stands. Song Qianqian said, "Fatty, Dao Feng, Wang Qingshan, Han Xueji, and me, I will go up first and follow the tactics that Long Fei has arranged." The 5 nodded their heads heavily, and then Song Qianqian brought the 4 of them to the stage. Long Fei still hasn't appeared. He still hasn't appeared at this time. Ouyang Zhan sneered, his gaze sweeping across the entire audience, and said, "I'll see how long you can hide." And then Ouyang Zhan looked at Lu Chongkong and said, "Have you all settled the things I've asked you to do?" Lu Chongkong laughed sinisterly and said, "I have already given you my word. Don't worry. You will die in this competition." Vermilion Bird Squadron. All of them had the cultivation base of the blood immortal realm. Of the 3 sword cultivators, 1 trained in formations and the other focused on defense. It was different from yesterday. Of the 2 people in the Vermilion Bird Battle Team, the array formation disciples and the defensive disciples were both newcomers. To be exact, they should be people from other college of martial arts training. In the arena, Dao Feng stared at the 2 of them and said, "Senior brother of Qingcheng, aren't you a member of the Array College of Martial Arts Training?" That person is also a high-ranking disciple of the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts Training. 2 of the members of the Vermilion Bird Battle Team were from other college of martial arts training. Qingcheng laughed coldly and said, "Do I need to tell you that I'm someone from some college of martial arts training? I just joined the Rosefinch Martial Art College last night. Is that not okay?" Dao Feng's forehead turned sinister as he said in a low voice, "Everyone be careful. This person's formation is extremely strange, and he has the title of the #1 disciple in the court. That disciple of the profound college of martial arts training must also be careful. His defense is very strong. Han Shueji also reminded her in a low voice. Song Chanqian's brain spun as he flew, saying, "Fatty, you are in charge of blocking the 3 disciples of the Rosefinch Martial Art College. Dao Feng, you are in charge of attacking that formation disciple. The remaining people will work together to deal with that disciple from the College of Martial Arts Training." Understood. Everyone whispered. For the 5 members of the battle squad, first kill support. Buzz. The boundary on the stage opened up. The referee elder loudly announced, "The semifinals of the team ranking tournament will begin now." The entire audience quieted down as they stared at the arena with wide eyes. The 3 disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College moved at the same time, the 3 swords instantly striking towards Song Chanqian. Song Chanqian was not afraid. Chen Tianfei took a step forward and said, "Bullying our boss's woman, do you all want to die?" Boom! A thick layer of defense was released as Chen Tianfei rushed forward. The moment of his weakness. That array court disciple revealed a sneer. "Ha ha!" Dao Feng's heart sank. "This is bad. Fatty, be careful." Although Chen Tianfei was fat and arrogant, he was also very meticulous. The moment he landed, he felt that something was amiss. Zhang Xian's body jolted, and he wanted to fly backward. However, it was already too late. His body felt like it had fallen into a swamp, directly binding his body. The more he struggled, the more he sank, and his defensive power was completely useless at this moment. This formation had been set up since last night. It was used to deal with Chen Tianfei's heaven-defying defense. Once they bound him down, the remaining 4 would be easy to deal with. Song Chanqian became angry between his brows and shouted out, "You guys are too despicable." Chapter 942, Assault Power. Chapter 942, Assault Power. Ha ha ha. Despicable. Right, we are despicable. So what? A Rosefinch Martial Art College disciple laughed complacently, extremely pleased with himself. He succeeded in one move. Everything was as Ouyang Zhan had planned. First, he tied up Chen Tianfei, and then he dealt with the other 4 people. Chen Tianfei struggled with all his might, but he did not understand much about the power of formations. The more he struggled, the stronger the mud-like binding force became. The formation disciple laughed with pride and said, "You won't be able to break through? Ha ha ha." Song Chanqian's forehead turned sinister as he said, "Save the fatty first." At the same time, he rushed towards Fatty. Fat Mention shouted, "Don't worry about me." It was also at this time the corners of the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts Training disciple's mouth slightly hooked up. "What can I do that I can't lose?" "Defend. If you don't die, you will not lose." Boom. The power from his body exploded out, forming a defensive wall that was like the reappearance of the earth. Bam! The attacks of the 4 were instantly blocked, and all of them were received by him alone. The path of defense was one of immortality. The 4 were blasted away. That Black Tortoise disciple said complacently, "The 3 senior brother S are at this time." Bang, bang, bang. As soon as he finished, his defensive wall suddenly moved quickly. 3 disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College followed behind him and rushed forward quickly. Song Chanqian's celestial Yin sword struck out crazily, but it was completely useless. Her attacks were indeed sharp, but when it came to defense shields, they were all blocked by the Black Tortoise disciple. "All of you will die." The defensive wall swiftly pushed forward, and the 4 of them swiftly retreated. The Fat Mention shouted, For jump out. Don't stay within the range of his defensive wall. The distance between them became shorter and shorter. If they did not jump out, they would be stuck at the boundary, and that way, the 4 of them would become live targets killed by the 3 Rosefinch Martial Art College disciples. While the fatty was speaking, the array disciple sneered and said, "You'd better take care of yourself first." As soon as he finished, the formation suddenly changed. Chun Tianfei felt as though the sky above him was collapsing. It ruthlessly smashed down towards him. His mind, his sea of consciousness, started to stir frantically. He could not handle it. Uffed. Fat men. Chun spat out a mouthful of blood. It was also at this moment Song Qianqian and the other 3 were about to be hit on the wall of the boundary. It's over. Arrogant Dragon Squad is going to lose. Compared to the 4 Matriel Halls' team, they are still too weak. The first few wins were all because they were caught off guard. After their strength was exposed, they would be targeted. This is a real team, not a personal show. Team competition. It was a team competition. It was useless for one person to be strong. The defenses of the fat men, Chun, was being suppressed. Dao Feng and Song Qianqian were unable to unleash their attacks and were instantly forced into a corner. In a situation where they had nowhere to retreat to, they would only become live targets to be slaughtered. What a guild needed was cooperation. In terms of coordination, Arrogant Dragon Squad was too weak. The stands were filled with sighs. As a dark horse, the advance of the Arrogant Dragon Squad was halted here. Ha ha ha. Arrogant Dragon Squad. This time, we're going to make him wipe out his entire team. Lu Chongkong laughed complacently, and at the same time said to Ouyang Zhan, "Brother Ouyang, you're still the best. If you didn't send someone to equip the array in advance to bind that fatty, it probably wouldn't have been this easy to win." Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly and said, "Even Long Fei wants to fight us. Is he qualified? Do you have the strength to do so? Playing with him is like playing with a dog." This place was the God Emperor Academy. It was Ouyang Zhan's territory. He could play however he wanted, but Long Fei did not have the qualifications to fight against him. In the first 2 days, he thought that the Pan family would deal a heavy blow to Long Fei, but he realized that he was wrong. There was only one thing he wanted to do. He used every method at his disposal to hit Long Fei and suppress him fiercely. Even if Long Fei kills his son, he will make Long Fei suffer 1,000 times more. Thus, he did everything he could. The people of this world would only remember the powerhouse and would not care about his methods. This was reality, although many people knew that the array was set up in advance. So what? Who would dare to say? So what if he said it? The reason of the week. Ouyang Zhan squinted his eyes. They were filled with dense killing intent as he said, "Long Fei, I want all of your people to die here today. I want you to be wiped out. Just you wait. This is only the beginning." Ouyang Zhan glanced at Pan Zhan, who was on the stage, and snorted coldly in his heart. "Pan Zhan, use me as a spear user and kill my son. I won't care about any personal qualifying fight. Don't even think about stopping my path of revenge today. At the exit of God Emperor Fairyland." Buzz. The 9 dragons on the wall became sinister. The wall suddenly shot out a ray of light, causing Long Fei to be pushed out. Huff! Long Fei heaved a heavy sigh. "Damn, I nearly died inside. The death of the powerhouse of the peak realm of the Unity Immortal is too terrifying." Long Fei said with a lingering fear in his heart. Just now, when God Emperor Fairyland was exchanging techniques, several life-threatening attacked him. He simply could not endure it. Chiu, Wandao, and Elderly in Green were finally relieved when they saw that Long Fei's heart was hanging at the tip of his throat. Long Fei looked at them and immediately asked, "What time is it now?" Has the team competition already started? Qiu Wandao said, It started long ago. Long Fei frowned and said, This is bad. Then Qiu Wandao smiled faintly and said, Don't worry, their strength is greater than anyone could imagine. There are only 3 of them on the stage. That kind of combination attack was really strong. Last time, he was able to repel even Powerhouse, who was at the Yuan Xian realm. Team competition of a mere disciple of an academy, it was not a problem at all. Long Fei looked at the 2 mysterious elders and asked, What kind of power do I not know? Qiu Wandao laughed. Strong power. Elderly in green said, Your father's power. Long Fei's eyes shook. My father, Qiu Wandao said, Don't ask so much. Hurry up and go to the martial arts practice grounds. If you appear, their strength will definitely increase. Long Fei didn't have much time to think about it. Team competition felt uneasy in his heart. I hope nothing bad happens. Presbyter Qiu, the 2 of you, do me a favor. Go to God Emperor City's God's Phoenix Pavilion. After he finished speaking, Long Fei quickly flew towards the direction of the training grounds. At the same time, Dao Feng looked at Han Xueji and then looked at Wang Qingshan. Wang Qingshan nodded his head and said, Senior brother, senior sister, come. Let them witness our true strength. Chapter 943. Chapter 943. He had been forced into a corner. Dao Feng and the others had no choice. Chen Tianfei also roared out, Let the 8 generations of his ancestors do it. As soon as he finished, Dao Feng and Han Xueji suddenly used a burst of power from their bodies and immediately charged into Wang Qingshan's body. At this moment, Wang Qingshan raised his eyes. Sword drawing style. Boom. His sword struck out, shocking both the gods and the demons. This strike was as fast as lightning, even faster than lightning. Shua. 1 sword and 1 slay. The thick shield wall was pierced through with a sword strike. Immediately after, the Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts training disciples' throat turned red, and his eyes glazed over. And this is not the end. A single sword strike had pierced through the throat of the disciples of the College of Martial Arts Training S, while Wang Qingshan's figure had also came out. Shua. With another slash, the 3 disciples of Rosefinch Martial Art College also felt their throats turn red and did not dare to move an inch. It hasn't stopped yet. Wang Qingshan's figure continued to fly out, charging towards the College of Martial Arts training disciples who were at the back, and piercing his throat with his sword. Boom! Wang Qingshan's long sword was slightly inserted into the sheath. Raising his eyes, he looked at Ouyang Zhan, who was on the viewing platform. Lu Chongkong and the elders from the College of Martial Arts Training, as well as the principal, spoke with an arrogant voice. All of you, die! Bam! Bang, bang, bang! With 5 consecutive sounds, the throat of the 5 members of the Vermilion Bird Battle Team burst open. Blood spurted out from their mouths as they fell to the ground, dead. A single slash had killed 5 people. This power, it was such a big deal. Moreover, this sword strike was too fast. Even Ouyang Zhan and the rest could not react in time. Seeing what was happening in the arena, many people's minds began to twist. They couldn't even react to what was happening. How could this be? Why would they kill back? What was the power of that sword? I don't understand. He didn't understand at all. Ouyang Zhan's scalp was tingling as he stared at the 5 people on the stage. They felt like they were strangers. Were they the students of the God Emperor Academy? Why is there such a powerful force? Why he didn't understand at all. That sword, would he be able to withstand it? Everyone thought that arrogant dragon squad had more or less revealed his true strength, and that he no longer had any more power. The explosion of the sword just now made them realize that they were wrong. For half a minute, the entire training field was silent. Even the Fairy Hall elders couldn't say a word, so they couldn't understand what kind of power it was. Wang Qingshan roared out, So what if I become enemies with the entire God Emperor Academy? You want to stop the arrogant dragon squad? No one, Wang Qingshan, who had always been low-key, also roared. His voice ignited the entire audience. That sword attack was too powerful. Damn, how did he do that? 5 members of the Vermilion Bird battle team were instantly killed. This is too unbelievable. Just what kind of background do these people have? Too powerful. Song Qianqian looked at them all, and his heart tensed up. They're really strong. Fat Men Chen struggled out of the array and walked to Wang Qingshan's side, pretending to be excited. In reality, he was supporting Wang Qingshan and said in a low voice, Brother, hold it. That kind of power was something they couldn't withstand right now. Once released, they could create powerful attacks, but they would also receive heavy injuries. Wang Qingshan's mind, consciousness, and organs were severely injured, but he did not reveal it. Instead, he used a wild roar to cover up the pain. Wang Qingshan's body slightly trembled as he said excitedly, So being arrogant is so great. Arrogant Dragon Squad wins. Let's enter the finals. Next match, team competition will be fighting with the Black Tortoise battle team. The referee's voice faded. Song Qianqian's arrogant dragon squad did not even have the time to walk down the stage before the referee elder's voice sounded again. Black Tortoise squad admits defeat. Green Dragon Troopers wins. Enter the finals. Team competition will be competing in the finals. 2 teams are invited to enter, without giving Song Qianqian and the others any chance to breathe. Ouyang Zhan coldly snorted. Let's see how long you can continue being so arrogant for. Come on, continue. Ouyang Zhan angrily roared out. Green Dragon Troopers. Disciple is here. The 5 of them stood in midair and roared. They were the strongest team, as well as the top geniuses of the God Emperor Academy, and all of their cultivations were blood immortal peak realm. The 5 of them had all reached the level of elders. There was even the possibility of them entering the outer space palace. Ouyang Zhan looked at the 5 of them and said, Kill them. There was no taboo. The 5 of them lowered their voices and said in unison, As you command. The 5 of them moved through the air and landed steadily on the stage. What was worth noting was that this time there were no twins, as Sun Dado had said. The 5 of them were all senior disciples, and 3 of them were the top 5 disciples of last year's personal qualifying fight. Very strong. An extremely strong team. Song Qianqian frowned, the pressure in his heart becoming more and more intense. He shouted, Isn't this competition a bit too unfair? Fair. Ha ha ha. This is the God Emperor Academy. What I say is what I want. Are you telling me that's unfair? Then don't compete. Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly. Lu Chongkong also sneered and said, Fairness is only an excuse for the weak. Since your arrogant dragon squad is so arrogant and despotic, then what are you afraid of? Continue. Ouyang Zhan's gaze swept across the entire audience and said, Long Fei, I know that you're hiding in a corner, and I definitely won't allow you to participate in 2 matches at the same time. You just have to watch your brother with your own eyes. Your woman should really be on the stage. Ha ha. His voice caused a wave of murmurs. However, just as Ouyang Zhan had said, no one would remember the loser. They would only remember the powerhouse, and this was an era where the powerhouse was respected. Weak. No one would ever mention it. I'll give you 1 minute to prepare. If you don't enter the arena after 1 minute, you'll have to give up. The referee said. Fat Men Chen shouted in annoyance. This is F** King bullying. Ouyang Zhan acted as if he was going to bully you and make you unhappy just because it was directed at you. Song Qianqian said, The more they target us, the more we must win, and we must not lose face for Long Fei. The final match. I will give up my seat. Man Tuo Yuo, you go, Song Qianqian said. She was the one with the strongest cultivation out of all of them, and also the one with the strongest attack power. However, S sword attack just now had let her know that during their 2 months of training, she had cultivated an extremely strong offensive strength that she was unable to fuse with. Chen Tianfei said. Wang Qingshan is almost unable to hold on. Song Qianqian looked at Xiao Ying and said, You shall replace Wang Qingshan. Xiao Ying nodded his head heavily. All right. Chapter 944, Tian Luo Formation. Chapter 944, Tian Luo Formation. Song Qianqian left the seat. Arrogant Dragon Squad returned to its original state. However, they were all members of the 2-month training camp, and there was a connection between their strength. Only together could they unleash their power. Song Qianqian said. As the leader, Dao Feng will listen to him. On the stage, you must be careful, you must not be reckless. If one was able to set up a formation in advance, he would be able to prepare all kinds of schemes beforehand. Ouyang Zhan did not care what methods he might use to obtain his goal. Everything was ready. Dao Feng, Chen Tianfei, Han Xueji, Man Tuoyuo, and Xiao Ying all entered the stage. At this moment, the 5 green dragon troopers descended from midair and stood on the stage, revealing cold smiles as they watched Fat Man Chen and the rest enter the stage. A bunch of trash. The 5 of them were all at Virtual Immortals stage. In terms of cultivation level, they were an entire realm lower than the people from the Green Dragon Troopers. The difference in strength was like the difference between heaven and earth. First team, Green Dragon Troopers. Last year, there was not a single loss in this year's team ranking tournament. Green Dragon Troopers' people are all Blood Immortal Peak Realm. Their strengths are way stronger than the Vermilion Bird Battle Team's people. Arrogant Dragon Squad is definitely not a match for them. However, since the Arrogant Dragon Squad was able to make it to this point, they can already create history. A team formed by a fist of service disciples is simply unable to make it onto the stage. This kind of team. I'm afraid that our group will be wiped out on stage today. The Green Dragon Troopers was really too strong. However, this was not the main point. The principal of the Formation College of Martial Arts Training walked over to Ouyang Zhan and smiled. Brother Ouyang, everything has been prepared. The principal of the Spirit Poison College of Martial Arts Training also walked up and said with a smile, when formations are activated and spirit poisons are released, they will lose their power in an instant and become dead dogs one by one. The 3 chairmen laughed out loud, complacently. Ouyang Zhan said, The competition with the Vermilion Bird Battle Team is just an appetizer. Since you still have strength that you did not reveal, then don't even think about exploding it today. Although God Emperor Academy didn't have one. However, Ouyang Zhan covered the sky with one hand and did some simple things on the stage. Just you wait. This time, we'll definitely wipe out your entire team. Ouyang Zhan laughed coldly as he watched Chen Tianfei and the others enter the stage. Long Fei, you are really patient. You haven't appeared even at this time? Long Fei was frantically rushing over. Buzz. Boundary on the stage closed his eyes. The match begins. The moment the referee's voice fell, Dao Feng said without any hesitation, Quick decision. Use your big move right now. Understood. The 5 of them immediately moved. The energy between them was released and linked into a net, which then surged into Dao Feng's body. Without waiting for Green Dragon Troopers to make a move, Dao Feng took a step forward. Shwa! The 2 scimitars in his hands moved, and his body suddenly disappeared. He could only sense an endless amount of blade intent from the arena, which was very strong. His figure disappeared. He's disappeared. Where did you go? Is it a new power? All sorts of discussions sounded out in the spectators' area. They were all guessing what kind of power Dao Feng was releasing. Why did it suddenly disappear? It was extremely strange. This was the most primitive power in Dao Feng's body. At the same time, it was also one of his blend of Fairy Vein S, the invisible immortal root, with speed combined with the power of the invisibility immortal foundation. Dao Feng had hidden himself in the air and was the first to attack. Shua! In half a second, the curved blade moved and slashed towards the Green Dragon Troopers' team leader's neck. The cold light was poisonous. The scimitar moved like lightning. The expression of the leader of the Green Dragon Troopers sunk. It was almost impossible to dodge, but it was also at this moment. A member behind him slapped the ground with one hand, breaking seal with his palm. A dense array of runes spread out and covered the entire arena. Heaven's Net formation. Open up! The battle with the Vermilion Bird formation had only trapped one person from Fat Mention. It was only a small-scaled formation. It was a large formation. At the same time as the array was activated, thin white smoke floated up from the array. Man Tualuo shouted loudly, "There's poison!" Also at this instant, the power in Dao Feng's body began to quickly shrink back. The curved blade in his hand was just half a centimeter away from the Green Dragon Trooper's captain's neck. However, the distance of half a centimeter became like 1,000 miles in the blink of an eye. A sneak attack. You deserve it too. Both of his fists formed a palm. His footsteps moved. His figure landed behind Dao Feng. Both of his palms struck out. One palm had sent Dao Feng flying, landing beside the 3 members of the Green Dragon Troopers. The 3 of them sneered at Dao Feng, staring at him coldly with scornful eyes. How does it feel to be a sneak attack? It's great, isn't it? As soon as he finished, the 3 of them attacked at the same time. Bang, bang, bang. Dao Feng was flung into the air, one palm striking the stomach pubes, one palm striking the chest and heart, one palm striking the top of his head. 3 palms struck out, and the sound of a dragon's roar resounded in the air. Bam! Dao Feng landed heavily on the ground, spitting out a mouthful of black blood. His face was pale to the extreme, and just as he was about to get up from the ground, he was stomped hard on the ground by the Green Dragon Squadron leader. Dao Feng, just lie on the ground obediently. The leader of the dragon group sneered. His heart was also filled with lingering fear. If not for the instant when Dao Feng retracted his power, he would have already become a dead man. He stepped on Dao Feng's head with all the strength he could muster and stared at Chen Tianfei and the other 3. Then he laughed. There are still the 4 of you. I'll do it. Chen Tianfei was enraged. The divine armor on his body released a buzzing sound. Divine armor began to buzz. Without waiting for Han Shueji and the other 2 to agree, he held his breath and directly absorbed the energy. With a heavy stride like thunder, he rushed forward and said, Come at me if you dare." In another place, Zheng Qingsong's mind was thinking frantically, "Formation, Heaven's Net formation. How do I break it? How do I break it?" If they were unable to break the formation, then Chen Tianfei and the rest's power would be quickly removed, and they would be killed no matter how strong Fatty was. The stronger the power he released, the faster he could absorb it. In the end, he would even be able to suppress the power of the immortal foundation. Formation aperture, formation aperture. Zheng Qingsong's mind was frantically replaying the scene of when the formation array was activated. In order to break the formation, one must first find the eye of the formation array. The stage is created by a boundary array. If the array formation is not created by the same person, then the 2 array formations will clash. The formation aperture is definitely not in the arena. If that's the case, The array that Zheng Qingsong cultivated he had some knowledge of the Heaven's Net formation. It was a powerful type of devouring array which was extremely secretive. But his 2 months of training had not been in vain. Suddenly, Zheng Qingsong suddenly shouted, "I got it!" Chapter 945, Death Place, Long Phase Arena. Chapter 945, Death Place, Long Phase Arena. Teacher Oya. Sister Chen, I need your help. Zheng Qingsong said quickly. Aoya directly said, "Quickly tell me." Zheng Qingsong said, "The Eye of the Heaven's Net formation is right around the arena. As long as we can find it and destroy it, the array formation on the arena will be broken." Song Qianqian immediately rushed towards the stage. Oya followed him out. Zheng Qingsong shouted loudly, "Brother Fatty, hold on!" Bam! Bang! 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 As Chen Tianfei was ganged up on, the divine armor defense on his body also quickly shrank back. The stronger the force, the faster it retreated. Ha ha ha! Defense is king? Damn fat pig! Aren't you very arrogant? Now I feel great. Without the support of strength, Chen Tianfei was just like a normal person. His strength couldn't be unleashed. The divine armor's power was suppressed. Chen Tianfei shouted, "Do you only have that much power? It's not even as strong as my scratching." However, when he looked at Song Qianqian and the others, he felt that they were not far from the arena and immediately thought that they were looking for the Eye of Insight. Then he must hold them. They had to buy time for Man Tuolyuo, Xiaoying, and Han Xueji. As long as there were 3 of them, there would definitely be a chance for them to participate in this competition. Long Fei was not present. They couldn't afford to lose. If he wanted to follow the boss and go further, then he had to become more resistant. The fat mention roared, "Green Dragon Troopers? I think it's the Blue Bug Battle Team. Come on, everyone come at me. All of you are coming for me alone." Ha ha ha. Fat Men Chen's fresh blood dripped down from the top of his head. His expression was sinister like a war god. No fall, no retreat. Is this person stupid? It's already like this. Why aren't you admitting defeat? Brainless. Isn't this the fat pig from the general's estate? I never thought that you would be even more brainless and useless than before. Ha ha ha. The people of Green Dragon Troopers have won. They are going to be crowned. Discussion arose from the surroundings of the stands. No one sympathized with the fatty because no one sympathized with the weak, and they would only look down on the weak. Seeing how the people of the Green Dragon Troopers were constantly tormenting Chen Tianfei, the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall cheered loudly. "Kill him! Arrogant! In front of our Green Dragon Troopers! What rights do you have to be arrogant?" Ouyang Zhan also laughed coldly with pride. At this moment, the principal of the Array College of Martial Arts Training's face shook. "Dean, Ouyang, what are they looking for?" Zheng Qingsong shouted excitedly. "Found it! Under this floor tile." Zheng Qingsong's reaction towards formations was very strong. He lifted up the floor tile with one hand and saw that there was a huge crystal stone underneath. It was the Eye of the Heaven's Net formation. It was also the source of power for formations. "Break for me." Zheng Qingsong's palms struck down, his arm went numb, and his body exploded as he retreated. Ha ha ha. The head of the Array College of Martial Arts Training sneered. "This is a Xian crystal stone. How can a mere array master like you break through a Xian crystal stone?" Zheng Qingsong's power was the power of the formation and was unable to break the Xian crystal stone. However, Aoya's and Song Qianqian's strengths were different. The revenge blade in Aoya's hand moved, flying straight up. Insight into sword method. Shwa shwa. 3 swords struck out. the sword stabbed down towards the Xian crystal stone. The powerful breaking force stabbed onto the Xian crystal stone, immediately causing cracks to appear on the Xian crystal stone. The eyes of the sect master of the Array College of Martial Arts training shook, and he said, "Principal Ouyang, we can't let them break through the core of the array. If the array breaks, their power will recover in an instant. When that happens, I'm afraid." Ouyang Zhan's eyes turned sinister, and he shouted, "Where are the Azure Dragon disciples?" "Ha!" The large group of Green Dragon Matrial Hall disciples behind him stood up. Ouyang Zhan coldly stared at Song Qianqian and the others and said, "Kill them." "Yes, sir." Dozens of genius disciples from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall flew down from the spectator stands. It was also at this time Sun Data roared out, "Brothers, it's time to repay young Master Long. Charge! Kill this group of Green Dragon Matrial Hall's geniuses." More than a dozen janitor disciples desperately tried to resist. Ling Long and the heavily injured Wang Qingshan also rushed forward. Song Qianqian's forehead turned sinister as he said to Aoya, "Big sister, Aoya, break the formation. I will block it." As soon as Song Qianqian finished speaking, the blood veins of the ninth heaven were released. Boom! The exquisite vein of ancient rosefinch was released, and a dozen or so people blocked the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall. The long sword in Aoya's hand struck down once again. A few more cracks appeared on the Xian crystal stone, and the formation's power weakened. At the same time, the fatty and the others recovered their strength. "Ah!" Chen Tianfei roared loudly, "Son of a B****, is this all you have? Come on, come on." The situation was a bit chaotic. He was on the verge of losing control. In the stage, Fat Man Chen was about to go berserk as well. Xiao Ying, "Man Tuoluo." Han Shueji's heart was in pain. They could not make a move. If they did, they would definitely lose the competition. They were the last chance to make a comeback. Xiao Ying said with a sunken voice, "Hold on, it's going to be fine soon, it's going to be." He raised his arms and clenched his fists tightly. Aoya rose into the air. Once again, the long sword in her hand smashed down onto the Xian crystal stone heavily. "Break for me." At this moment, Lu Changkong's eyes turned sinister as he moved through the air. With a step, he landed in front of Aoya, curled the corner of his lips, and said with a cold sneer, "You get down." The aura on his body moved, and the pressure of the golden immortal rank pressed down. Boom! The difference in cultivation between Aoya and Lu Changkong was just too big. They were simply unable to endure the pressure of the golden immortal rank, and instantly smashed down from the sky. Bam! Oya spat out a mouthful of blood. Song Qianqian watched as Aoya was struck down, watched as Lu Changkong walked towards her. The ethereal image of the nine heavens enigmatic woman moved, directly rushing towards Lu Changkong. With great difficulty, Aoya climbed up from the ground. Ah! Once again, he soared into the sky. Holding the revenge blade in both hands, he stabbed it down heavily towards the Xian crystal stone. Lu Changkong's eyes darkened. His cultivation at the sixth stage of the golden immortal stage exploded out like a ferocious beast that had collided with Aoya. Bam! Oya was knocked flying. Lu Changkong made a backhand gesture with his hand, forcing the phantom of the nine heavens profound woman to retreat. He let out a cold laugh. "You want to break the formation? You're too far behind. A bunch of trash." It was extremely disdainful. The golden immortal rank was too strong, and he was the principal of the Rosefinch Martial Art College, so no one was his match. Even Song Qianqian was unable to contend against him. The service disciples could not resist it either. Oya was seriously injured. Song Qianqian and Ling Long were entangled. The formation could not be broken, so Chen Tianfei and the rest who were on the stage would definitely die. Dead. There was no other way. Everyone's heart was dead silent. At this time, a golden-haired figure descended from the sky. His two hands moved, and a huge golden palm came crashing down. Chapter 946, Instant Killer. Chapter 946, Instant Killer. If the array did not break, Chen Tianfei and the rest who were on the stage would die. When Lu Changkong took action, Aoya and the others fell into a deathly trap. Aoya was heavily injured, and the spell formation couldn't be broken. Song Qianqian was entangled and was unable to struggle free. She could only watch Lu Changkong walk towards Aoya step by step as everyone became anxious. Ouyang Zhan and the others, on the other hand, were incomparably pleased. At this time, they seemed to have forgotten Long Fei's existence. However, just as they were extremely excited, a figure descended from the sky. Moreover, this human figure was a little strange. His golden hair was soaring, and the aura on his body could be seen burning crazily, as if he was surrounded by a ball of energy. An enormous golden palm came crashing down. The sky darkened as if it was about to split open. The strong power of the Holy Buddha descended layer after layer, locking onto Lu Changkong as he smashed downwards with his palm. Too fast. It was so fast that Lu Changkong had no time to react. Too fierce. It was a complete shock to everyone in the martial arts arena, as they had never expected that Long Fei would appear at this time, or that he would descend from the skies. Golden hair. Lu Changkong looked up into the sky and let out a terrified scream. Ah! A huge palm came slamming down on his head. Crack! Rumble! A gigantic Lord of Buddha handprint appeared on the ground. Lu Changkong's body was like a lump of meat paste in the center of his palm, without any signs of life. Instant kill. At this moment, the system sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Lu Changkong for obtaining 80,900 experience, 8,000 power of celestial, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 3 immortal crystals. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sky Confusion Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Divine Origin Sword. All of them had been devoured by the Yen Huang ancestor. Long Fei didn't care about it. He glanced at the arena, saw the same Aoya, Sun Datu, and the others, and clenched his fists tightly. Whoever dares to provoke my brother, die. Boom. His figure moved, and a golden light flashed. It floated in front of the disciples of the Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, as if it was as strong as rotten weeds. He used his full combat power. Bang, 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 bang. Rumble, bang. With a loud noise, the ground cracked, and dozens of disciples of Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, were sent flying. In that instant, the dragon salyer in Long Fei's hands fell. Dragon chop. 1,000 slashes. The dragon salyer was arrogant, killing the disciples of these green dragon Matrial Hall S under the super science mode was simply a violent strike, harvesting them crazily. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Asterisk, fresh blood rained down like rain, causing everyone to be in shock as they stared at Long Fei die. More than a dozen green dragon Matrial Hall disciples were instantly killed. Long Fei did not hear it, and his body sank as he looked at the other wave of green dragon Matrial Hall disciples. Boom! Yet another collision, sending all of them flying into the air. Super Science Long Fei's fists shot out like cannons. All of you die. One by one, they attacked. Fist to flesh, fist to head. The originally ferocious green dragon Matrial Hall, the principal of the 18 Matrial Halls, who was originally incomparably pleased with himself. And those people who were originally watching with glee were now violently crushed by Long Fei's appearance. It was as if he had stepped on their heads and slapped them in the face. Lu Chongkong was instantly killed. 20-odd green dragon Matrial Hall disciples were instantly killed. Long Fei's body floated in midair as he roared out, "Motherf asterisk cur, who else is there?" The entire audience went silent. He could not make any sound. Long Fei's hair became golden. The power in his body was a type of powerful bloodline energy. They were completely unfamiliar with this power. What exactly was this? He could not understand it at all, because the Buddha palm technique was Long Fei's strongest power. But now, Long Fei burst with power stronger than the Buddha palm technique. Furthermore, with the two of them combined, even Lu Chongkong only needed a second. Although Long Fei had launched a sneak attack just like that, and he had arrived too quickly for Lu Chongkong to defend himself, but he was still a level 6 golden immortal superpower house, and he was killed just like that. How strong were the combinations of the Super Saiyan and the Buddha palm technique? He could not understand. Everyone in the entire martial arts arena could not understand. Long Fei had shocked them too much with his arrogant and overbearing aura. Suddenly, Long Fei roared again. "This old man will just ask one more time. Who else?" She stared at Ouyang Zhan with killing intent. At this time, Aoya strenuously walked forward, the revenge blade in her hand heavily stabbing into the formation's ice stone. Crack! The Xian crystal stone cracked, and the Tian Luo array formation disappeared. Motherf asterisk cur. It's my turn now. Chun Tianfei's neck shook, and his joints exploded out with a loud sound. A thick layer of defense formed a counterforce, standing in front of the 5 of them, and said with a sinister smile, "Damn it, I want to kill you all now." At the same time, the powers of Han Shueji, Man Tuoyuo, and Xiao Ying interweaved into a net, and the combined attack was released. Bang, bang, bang. Xiao Ying's footsteps were like thunder as he charged forward quickly. The power of the brutal immortal root exploded outwards. One punch. The fist was like 100,000 tons of metal smashing down. The leader of Green Dragon Troopers was smashed to the ground. Chun Tianfei leaped up, and with a stomp, he rushed forward. "I've said it before, if you don't kill me, I'll kill you." The defense on Chun Tianfei's body formed into an attack, so every one of the 5 of them had beaten him up. The moment he stopped the captain with his, but Chun Tianfei shouted with an ice-cold expression between his brows, "All of you, get on the ground!" Boom! Boom! The 5 of them suddenly had anaphasic force on them. The stronger they were just now, the stronger the anaphasic force they received was. The 5 of them simultaneously spat out blood. Their faces were pale. They didn't know how to defend against this sort of attack. His body sank. Xiao Ying unleashed his terrifying strength continuously, and every time he attacked, he used his full strength. In just a few seconds, Green Dragon troopers. They had been wiped out. The fat Menchin helped Dao Feng up, and the 5 of them stood in a row, imitating Long Fei's way of speech. They all shouted out at the same time. Who else? The entire audience was in an uproar. He was once again stunned by the 5 people from Arrogant Dragon Squad. Fight back with your life on the line. In that instant, the 5 people who were crushed to the point of no return killed all 5 people from Green Dragon troopers, resulting in the annihilation of their entire group. Moreover, the domineering aura emitted from their bodies was too ferocious, unparalleled. At this time, a tiny voice sounded out. Mad Dragon, Mad Dragon, Mad Dragon. Next, many people responded. Quan Long, Quan Long, Quan Long. It was boiling. Arrogant Dragon Squad started to boil. For Long Fei, Ouyang Zhan's face turned green, his killing intent soaring to the skies. Chapter 947, Start of War. Chapter 947, Start of War. Team Ranking Tournament. Victory. Sees the first team. It was an indisputable victory, a victory that completely crushed the entire team. There was no room for debate at all. However, there was one person who was in a bad mood, Ouyang Zhan. The 5 people from Green Dragon Troopers were all his most prized disciples, and were the names of the disciples that he was most proud of. They were all in the arena. He couldn't hold back the rage in his heart for even a moment. With a burst of power, he roared loudly, Long Fei. His voice was so loud that even the power of a golden immortal stage level 7 could crush the entire arena. The entire arena instantly quieted down. The Azure Dragon Courtyard is angry. Long Fei is going to suffer. He actually went against the 4 matrial halls in public and sneaked an attack on Lu Chongkong as well, killing so many of their disciples. No matter how strong he is, he's just a virtual immortal's stage. If it wasn't for Lu Chongkong carelessly ignoring defense, how could Long Fei have killed the Vermilion Bird Principal? Young man, you are too arrogant and do not know how to restrain yourself. So what if you have won first place in the competition? No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than the power of 18 matrial halls? This time, Ouyang Zhan is really angry. Many people began to discuss in whispers. No doubt about it, Long Fei had already caused Ouyang Zhan to go completely berserk. How could he not be angry after killing his son, and now that he had overturned his Green Dragon troopers and killed so many of his disciples? At this time, the time limit for the Super Saiyan mode was over on Long Fei, but he was not worried. The reason for releasing the Super Saiyan mode was very simple, because he had even more powerful techniques. The moves in the God Emperor Fairyland that used skill redemption point and system prizes. 2 sets of skills. Therefore, Long Fei was not worried about using the Super Saiyan's cooldown skill right now. Long Fei smiled and stared at Ouyang Zhan. What is your father doing at home? Cluck, cluck. Ouyang Zhan gritted his teeth as his eyes angrily glared at Long Fei, saying, killing the Vermilion Bird Principal and the disciples of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall today. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei said fearlessly, that's because they deserve to die. To touch my brothers and my women, that's what happens to them. Ouyang Zhan, are you going to say something that I have to die today? Stop it. Just come down and mess with me. Long Fei's eyes were also staring furiously at Ouyang Zhan. He was extremely unhappy in his heart. If he had come here just for half a minute, then all of his people would probably die here, and the consequences would be extremely tragic. He would never forgive himself. When he thought about this, Long Fei's heart became even more furious. He pointed at Ouyang Zhan and said, as the principal of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall, you lead the elders, disciples, and principal to attack us everywhere, but you actually set up the formation in advance. Don't you think that's shameful? Every single match in the previous great competitions was held at different times, and the team competition and alchemy competitions were held at the same time. Don't you feel ashamed that you are going against me? Joint referee, colluding with the Pan family to bribe her and make her pay. Don't you think that's shameful? Of course, Long Fei sneered. For a person like you, who has skin thicker than the walls of God Emperor City, shame is nothing. But Long Fei's eyes shook and said, so what? Who can stop my footsteps? Who can stop my arrogant dragon squad's footsteps? I'll grind. Who do you think you, Ouyangzhan, are? He was furious and tried his best to vent his anger. Long Fei was truly unhappy in his heart. Ouyangzhan was even more unhappy. The people around the grandstands were all discussing. Long Fei seems to be right. In this year's Academy competition, he did not seem to be facing the entire team, but the entire God Emperor Academy instead. Is it really that good to target them like this? It's too unfair. None of the team competitions Long Fei have the means to enter the arena to compete, so that's how it is. Damn, this is so King shameless. As Ouyangzhan listened to the discussions around him, his eyes were completely bloodshot, the aura on his body heavily exploded outwards, and his entire person entered a berserk state. Long Fei squinted and said coldly, come if you dare. The mission of the 18 Arhats had already beheaded the second one, even though there was no golden exclamation mark floating above Ouyangzhan's head. But if he dared to come down, Long Fei would dare kill him. 7th level of the golden immortal realm. It was really very strong. Long Fei believed that he would definitely be able to learn the 2 new sets of techniques. Even if they couldn't kill him, they could at least cripple him. However, what Long Fei was most worried about right now was if he could get his hands on a level 5 immortal root, then the 3 billion experience would not be a waste. He had to think of a way to raise his level increase. As long as his level increased, Long Fei was more confident. Ouyangzhan roared in fury, causing all the disciples of Green Dragon, Matrial Hall, to stand up. All eyes were fixed on Long Fei. It was also at this time. Song Qianqian walked over to Long Fei's side. Chen Tianfei jumped down from the stage and stood beside Long Fei. Next, Dao Feng, Man Tuolyuo, Han Xueji, Xiaoying, Aoya, and the logistics department brothers all stood beside Long Fei, and almost at the same time, they swallowed another destiny changer, followed by another. The aura of their power suddenly changed. Long Fei laughed excitedly. He stared at Ouyangzhan and said, you want to start a war with your father? Come on. Do I have to be afraid of you? Too arrogant. Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the #1 college of martial arts training, the strongest among them. Yet now, he was actually looked down upon by a disciple of the Virtual Immortals stage. Xiao Tianwu coldly snorted, Long Fei, you are too arrogant. You want to start a war. My Black Tortoise College of Martial Arts Training will fight you. White Tiger Kung Fu Tribe. College of Martial Arts Training Spirit Poison. Formation College of Martial Arts Training. Immediately after, all the elders of the 18 matrial halls stood up, and all the elite disciples behind them stood up as well, and shouted loudly, let's begin. They were the most elite powerhouse, it could be said. Then they could replace the entire God Emperor Academy. He offended the masses? Ouyangzhan laughed coldly. If you want to start a war with our 18 matrial halls, then let's see just how many lives you have left today. Boom. The moment he said that, Ouyangzhan's gaze darkened, and he stepped forward. Long Fei's brows tightened, and said in a low voice, once a fight breaks out, all of you should think of a way to escape. Chen Tianfei said, boss, my fat men Chen will not run. Dao Feng said, young Master Long, if you want to live together, You must die. We have to die together. Zheng Qingsong said excitedly. Brother, we'll do it this way, we'll wipe them out. Song Qianqian, Aoya, Man Tualuo, and the others were also looking at Long Fei. No one wanted to leave, and it was the same for the disciples of the logistics department. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. We shall live and die together. We shall live and die together. Everyone shouted at the same time. The dragon Salyer was on their shoulders, staring at Ouyang Zhan. They shouted out, "Kill!" Chapter 948. The Boss Took the Bait. Chapter 948. The boss took the bait. The war was about to begin. No one backed down. Even in the face of the entire God Emperor Academy, no one took a step back. Life has to be wonderful. This was what Long Fei was doing. He actually reached this step. Then he would continue to be arrogant and not submit at all. Ouyang Zhan stared at Long Fei with anger in his eyes and said, "Kill!" The president of the 18 matrial halls, the elders, and the disciples all stepped forward, and their voices shook the sky. "Kill!" The situation was about to get out of control. Pan Zhan frowned. What is Ouyang Zhan up to? This was not his plan. He was completely at odds with his Pan family's plan. He looked at Pan Sheng beside him and asked, "Young master, what should we do?" Pan Sheng smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, we won't be able to fight." Pan Zhan trembled slightly. He was about to attack, but he still couldn't. He looked at Pan Sheng's confident smile and said, "Young master, can it be that Supreme God is going to intervene?" Pan Sheng's eyes slightly rose and said, "He has always been interfering with the God Emperor Academy. Aside from cultivating for the past half a year, he also kept an eye on the movements of the Supreme God, and the reason why he tolerated Long Fei. This time, he was very clear in his heart that the Supreme God wanted to teach Long Fei a lesson. Since that was the case, then Long Fei must never be able to stand up and must never have the qualification to enter the Supreme God's Dharma eyes." Pan Zhan was secretly shocked. After hesitating for a few seconds, he asked, "Young master, your and Long Fei's strength." "Destroy him." Pan Sheng laughed coldly, completely not putting Long Fei in his eyes, and said, "I can point him in the Thunder Mountains in one move, but I can still do it now." Pan Zhan was overjoyed and said excitedly, "In today's battle, Pan family is destined to shake the entire God's martial continent, and the reputation of the #1 family." Pan Sheng looked at Long Fei and let out a mocking sneer. "Long Fei, you are only my stepping stone." At the moment when the war was about to begin, a figure descended from the sky. Buzz. The power of the explosion was so strong that it directly blocked off Ouyang Zhan and Long Fei. This was the power of the Supreme God. The figure was the 19th on the law enforcement agency. 19 figures sunk and shouted, "God Emperor Academy is the #1 academy in a mortal domain. Do you want to destroy him?" This was not the outcome palace question of God wanted to see. The power of Western Devil Lord grew stronger every day. God Emperor Academy could not cross over. Otherwise, immortal domain would quickly collapse. This was not what Supreme God wanted to see. It was also at this time. The 8 Fairy Hall Elder S also moved, landing in the middle of them and shouted, "Long Fei, calm down a little. Don't you think it's messy enough?" Long Fei said, "You have to tell Ouyang Zhan to calm down first. As the head of the Azure Dragon Institute, he actually despicably and shamelessly went against us. What is he trying to do? If you're afraid, then tell me. I will make them lose in a more respectable way." In this situation, Long Fei knew he couldn't fight. However, to Long Fei, this was actually a little better. He could also slowly complete his mission of the 18 Arhats. There was no need to be too anxious. Therefore, Long Fei was unbridled. Ouyang Zhan's eyes became angry, and he shouted, "Long Fei, I'm afraid of you." Long Fei laughed. "If you're not afraid of me, then what are you doing with so many schemes and tricks? Wasn't this because he was afraid of me?" Ouyang Zhan, You have the nerve to be the principal of Green Dragon Matrial Hall? If I were you, I would just find a piece of tofu and smash myself to death. You. Ouyang was enraged to the point that he almost vomited blood. He was truly unhappy, but he could not find any words to refute. Indeed, he had always been plotting against Long Fei, had always been plotting against him. But Pan family had asked him to do all of these. Enough! 19 shouted out loud, looked at Long Fei, and said, Long Fei, if you continue to pester me, your alchemy qualification will be cancelled, and your personal qualifying fight will be cancelled. Long Fei slightly laughed. Ha ha. But if Ouyang dares to go against this daddy will beat him up no matter what price I have to pay. 19, without waiting for Ouyang to get angry, he shouted loudly, Dean Ouyang, I hope that you can treat the following matches fairly. This matter shall be concluded. We shall now proceed to the array formation finals. Can't fight. If they started fighting, the Supreme God's plan would collapse. If Long Fei lost, it would be detrimental to his search for the dragon domain. No matter who lost, it would not be beneficial for the Supreme God. Moreover, he only wanted to teach him a lesson and let him remember everything. He also wanted to remind him that if he wanted to become stronger, he would need to unravel the secrets of the dragon domain in order to be able to obtain even more power. It was also because of this that Pan Sheng left the outer space palace. The Supreme God wanted Pan Sheng to teach Long Fei a lesson. Moreover, Supreme God believed in Pan Sheng's strength. It was more than enough to deal with Long Fei. Long Fei laughed coldly. Ouyang, you really want me to die, right? I will give you a chance today. Just you wait. They wanted him dead. Long Fei also wanted to kill all 17 of the College of Martial Arts Training's principal. Each and every one of their names had turned blood red, the kind of boss that could attack him at any time. Chapter 949. Explosion of Pan Gu Axe. Chapter 949. Explosion of Pan Gu Axe. Some moves require specific weapons. For example, sabersmanship. It needed to use the saber to display the strongest power of the saber technique. If he were to use the sword to replace it, it would be impossible for him to use the overbearing strength of the saber technique. The same was true for swordplay. The first time Long Fei saw the heaven-splitting axe, he told himself that the Pan Gu axe was his. And now, Long Fei really needed this divine axe. After Pan Zhan quietly left, Long Fei moved multiple shadows. Long Fei released a fake body, his real body also quietly standing in the middle of the encirclement of Fat Men Chen and the others. On the road to God Emperor City. You dog, you actually dared to attack my Pan family first. I think you are tired of living. Pan Zhan's killing intent surge, the anger in his heart surging. He never thought that Long Fei would actually send people to attack his Pan family first. And it was during the Academy's finals. Was not afraid, but he was the great clan elder and had to rush back to take charge of the situation. Therefore, he quickly left the venue. Beneath the shade of the forest, a man had his back against a large tree. Watching Pan Zhan's charge forward with quick steps, he laughed coldly and said, Great Elder Pan, where are you going? Long Fei. Pan Zhan's face was shocked, but it was not because of fear. He said, Weren't you competing in the martial arts arena? When he left, he had clearly seen Long Fei standing there. How did he arrive here in the blink of an eye? Or was he waiting for him here? Pan Zhan's brows sank, and he realized that Long Fei's goal wasn't anyone else but him. Narrowing his eyes, he smiled sinisterly and said, Brat, you've been waiting for me here, right? Long Fei said, I'm not stupid. Pan Zhan laughed coldly and said, Since you're here to send yourself to your death, then I can only grant your wish. As soon as he finished, Pan Zhan's figure disappeared, and a powerful force burst out, In an instant, he had appeared in front of Long Fei. It was too fast. Pan Zhan's cultivation level was not lower than any college of martial arts training principal. And also, he was still holding onto the holy artifact's battle axe as he slashed it towards Long Fei. Die! Long Fei blocked him. In his heart, he believed that they were not killing him, but delaying him from returning to the God Emperor city. He was not Su Tianhe, and if he was not Lu Chongkong, he would not have been killed by Long Fei's sneak attack. The axe chopped down with extreme ferocity. A red-name boss is a red-name boss. As expected, it would attack as soon as it saw you. Long Fei slightly smiled. He did not dodge. He did not even move. Chapter 950, Witness the Miracle. Chapter 950, Witness the Miracle. It was a long time ago. The longer it dragged on, the more disadvantageous it was for Gu Tongtian. Because life force limit. He only had a few more years left, and it wouldn't take up much time to reach Western Devil Lord. And then Gu Tongtian's figure moved and landed in the Supreme God's secret room. Supreme God shivered and immediately bowed respectfully. Master, Gu Tongtian slightly said. How is the matter going? Supreme God said, reporting to Master. All the disciples have been properly arranged. Long Fei will definitely receive a lesson during today's academy competition and receive heavy injuries. At that time, I will guide him to the Dragon Tail Tomb. He will definitely go there. And once the Dragon Tail Tomb is unraveled, the only thing left behind is the Dragon Claw Tomb in Dragon Domain. Once the tomb with the dragon's tail is opened, the Dragon Domain will open very soon. Gu Tongtian said. Very good. However, you must remember, you must control them. The people of Long family are hard to control, and as long as they have the slightest chance of success, they will definitely rise up. I do not wish for the incident with Long Zhanting to occur again. Gu Tongtian's voice was filled with dignity. Long Fei was his last hope. Supreme God immediately said, this disciple will definitely be able to control it. Martial arts practice field. Long Fei returned to the training grounds. Seeing the excitement on Long Fei's face, Song Qianqian couldn't help but ask, where did you go just now? Long Fei laughed and said, let's go and fight a boss. Song Qianqian did not understand what boss was and revealed a puzzled expression. Long Fei also did not explain, saying, you'll know in a while. Next, alchemy competition. Disciples, prepare yourself. The finals will begin in 3 minutes. Chen Tianfei immediately became excited. Boss, it's your turn. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, it's my time now. Long Fei was not prepared at all. He not only wanted to win against his opponent, he also wanted to win against all of the warriors in the God Emperor Academy, or even all of the warriors in the God's martial continent. He first stepped onto the stage of powder-making competition, lowered his voice, and said loudly, yesterday, I told you that I wanted to refine a medicinal pellet that could change the world. You will definitely laugh at me. How does a single pill change a world? Today, I will show you the power of medicinal pills and the power to change the world. As soon as Long Fei's voice fell, he said, I will refine 20 pills and give them to you for free. These 20 people, no matter who you are, the warriors of God Emperor Academy, the elders, the principal, the Fairy Hall Elder, and the people from your observation consortium, all can come up. Changing time required strong proof. Chapter 951, Magic Power. Chapter 951, Magic Power. Many people were waiting for Long Fei to make a fool of himself. In the world of martial artists, there was only one thing that could change this world: power. Pills were only supplementary items. They absolutely could not change the world. Long Fei's words were very loud, so much so that many people ridiculed him for overestimating his own abilities, for being so arrogant and conceited. pills to change the world. This was simply impossible. Long Fei did not care about the mocking laughter from the stands. He looked at the 20 people, including one of the Fairy Hall elder. The 20 of them stared at the pill in their hands, and many of them felt perplexed. A pill that took less than 2 minutes to refine did not emit any spirit fragrance at all. Was this really a pill that would not give him diarrhea after eating it? A wave of mocking laughter immediately rose from the stands. Be careful of the diarrhea. God Emperor Academy doesn't have that many latrines. Ha! You all are really retarded. You all believe what others say. Do you really dare to believe a lie about a single pill being able to change the world? Maybe he'll become his slave after consuming the medicinal pills. Get ready for diarrhea. One voice after another rang out. Long Fei turned a deaf ear to them, looked at the 20 of them, and said, "You will all be proud of today's decision, and will be the first to rise." Long Fei did not force them. At this time, the first middle-aged man who stood out, a 9th-stage berserk immortal cultivator, shouted, "I have consumed countless pills, but I am still unable to break through the virtual immortal stage. I do not believe in pills, but I do believe in you, Long Fei." With that, he raised his head and swallowed the pill. The moment the pill entered his mouth, it melted and a warm sensation seeped into his body. Next, as the effects of the pill spread, a loud sound reverberated inside the pubes. The man's eyes bulged, as if he was being attacked by some unbearably powerful attack. His aura suddenly burst forth. Did you see that? It's much more serious than we thought. I'm afraid he's going to die. Look at his painful expression. This is definitely not a stomach ache. It's probably a life-threatening pill. Long Fei, you really don't care about life. The people of Nantian region are this kind of sinister people? There is nothing good in the Long family. The mocking laughter grew in volume. Long Fei still pretended not to hear anything, and looked at the man seriously. He was extremely confident, and was not afraid at all. "Just you wait. You'll all kneel down and beg me." Long Fei was not in a hurry. The other 19 people looked at each other, and did not consume the pill. Instead, they looked at the man who was in pain. Many of them began to regret. Suddenly, the man sat cross-legged, releasing one chi after another from his body. Just when they were shocked, Long Fei smiled faintly, looked at the Fairy Hall elder, and said, "Alchemy is my hobby. Amateur? Should he still let those alchemy masters live? It was simply too deadly. Long Fei, give up on the competition. I will bring you up to Palace Question of God, and you will become the #1 alchemy master in the entire continent. Any one of your pellets will be worth 10,000 gold. He knew what would happen next, but he couldn't care so much now. He couldn't allow a genius alchemy master to fall just like that. He could not let the pills that could change the world disappear, just like that. Long Fei was slightly taken aback, then laughed. "Thank you for your good intentions. As I said before, alchemy is only a hobby to me, and my main job is still to become a martial artist." The space between Fairy Hall elders' brows tightened, and said, "Long Fei, listen to me advise you to give up your personal qualifying fight. It will definitely benefit you." He had made it very clear. Personal qualifying fight was very dangerous, incomparably dangerous. Long Fei was not an idiot. He naturally stopped and said, "The dictionary of my Long family people do not have the word give up. Thank you, elder, for your kind intentions, but no matter what kind of challenge you meet, I will always step on them." Why didn't you listen to him? You will die from personal qualifying fight. The Fairy Hall elder hurriedly said. He really didn't want to see that scene, and at the beginning he didn't care much, but now that Long Fei had completed it, he didn't have any dreams that I hadn't completed. He didn't want to see Long Fei die. What kind of existence was Pan Sheng? First, Devil Slayer. This was only secondary. The most important part was his cultivation realm and the body that he had comprehended. The most important part was the instructions from the Supreme God. Even if he could win everything, could Long Fei win against Pan Sheng? Even if he defeated Pan Sheng, would Long Fei be able to win against the Supreme God that was the ruler of the Hall of Immortals? Giving up is Long Fei's only choice. At this moment, the 3 Fairy Hall elders descended and shouted, "Elderly, you speak too much." Without waiting for a response, the 2 clan elders dragged him out of the stage of powder-making competition. Another elder looked at Long Fei and said, "Personal qualifying fight, you must participate. If you dare not participate, everything that you have obtained today will be for naught. Moreover, those around you will all die. I hate people who threaten me the most." Long Fei sneered and said, "Don't worry. Even if the sky falls, I will still participate in the personal qualifying fight today. No one will be able to stop my Long Fei's steps. No one. You can't either." Chapter 953. The beginning of the personal qualifying fight. Chapter 953. The beginning of the personal qualifying fight. 100 silver taels. The entire arena instantly quieted down. All the spectators looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape. Not to mention 100 taels of silver, even 100, 1,000, 10,000 fairy stones would all be sold out, yet Long Fei only sold them for 100 taels of silver? Was he retarded? Had he been bitten by a dog, kicked by a donkey, and caught in the door an hour later? Even a fool wouldn't sell it for 100 taels of silver. Am I hearing things? 100 silver? How much did he just say? 100 fairy stones, right? Am I the only one who heard wrong? The entire city was filled with doubts, thinking that they had misheard. How could such a pill only be sold for 100 taels of silver? Long Fei swept his gaze across the entire audience and said, "You did not hear wrongly. The price of the Nantian elixir is 100 silver. Today is 100 silver. Tomorrow is 100 silver. So from now on, the price of this medicine will be 100 silver. I said before that I want to change this world, and I, Long Fei, want to make sure that every martial artist can afford it, and that they have the right to change their own destinies." As soon as he finished, the entire audience was stunned. Then, many people started to stand up, one by one. Even the elite disciples of 18 matrial halls could not help but stand up and clap their hands. The applause was deafening. At this moment, even those who had mocked Long Fei felt a sense of respect towards him. Who would do such a thing? The person who could have controlled the fate of the world had actually given up and allowed every fighter the right to change their fate. Who could do that? No one in the world could do this. Fighters are selfish, be it the weak or the peak powerhouse. Everyone was thinking about themselves. Who could be like Long Fei? Nantian region, Nantian elixir. Change fate. Nantian region, Nantian region, Nantian region. At this moment, everyone was shouting the 3 words, Nantian region. The destiny changer changing her fate to Nantian elixir meant letting everyone know that the medicine that could change the fate of the world was a long family from the Nantian region. Boss is too handsome. He's so handsome that it's like trash falling from the sky. Zheng Qingsong's tears started to drip from her eyes as she said, "I'm really going to fall in love with him." At this moment, Song Chanqian, Man Tualuo, Aoya, Han Shueji, and the others all stared at him. All the hair on their bodies stood on end as they stared at him. They were all extremely excited. So handsome. The entire world was cheering for Long Fei. He was arrogant. He was arrogant. He was tyrannical, but he was also selfless. If someone was happy, then that person would naturally be unhappy. It was inevitable that Ouyang Zhan, Xiao Tianwu, and the principal of the 18 matrial halls would all be very angry. Long Fei's current position in the hearts of his students had already far surpassed theirs. If Long Fei did not die today, he would have replaced them. He might even become a dean. This was not what they wanted to see. Also, there was one other person who was extremely unhappy, Pan Sheng, who was in the group of Pan family. He was in a bad mood, extremely displeased. Pan Sheng stared at Long Fei with gloomy eyes and said coldly, "I would like to see how you are going to change this world if you don't have a life and become a ghost to change. I absolutely cannot allow this pill to enter the market. As long as Long Fei dies, all the Nantian elixir and all the pills that can change the world will go to hell." Pubes flowed into the market, causing the influence of the Fengyuan Business Alliance to increase instantly. He would directly crush the Pan family's merchant union. Moreover, there was no need to duplicate a pill worth 100 taels of silver. Long Fei, oh Long Fei, I really underestimated you in the past. I never thought that you would be so much stronger than what I imagined. The killing intent in Pan Sheng's heart grew stronger. After today, if Long Fei doesn't die, he will fly away. He could not let Long Fei fly. He could not let Long family crush him again. He absolutely could not. A palace question of God. In the main hall, Supreme God frowned slightly. His expression was calm, but in his heart, he was extremely unhappy because he did not want Long Fei to rise again. After today, Nantian elixir flowed into the market. The entire God's martial continent would know of the name Long Fei, and they would know of the Long family's Long family. This was something he did not want to see. Why is he only selling it for 100 silver? An elder asked in confusion. Only then would it cause a sensation and achieve the results he wants. I have to say, Long Fei really knows how to operate himself. That's just one thing. If it's 100 fairy stones, or even just one, how many of them can the warriors of God's martial continent take out? It's probably not even 1 in 100,000, right? Fairy stones were very precious things. Even the high-ranking nobles of the God Emperor City could not provide that much, let alone ordinary warriors. What he wants to earn is the money of the entire God's martial continent's warriors. This is his most knowledgeable place. A fairy hall elder said, lightly, 100 taels of silver and 100 fairy stones were far too different. But what about the billions of basic warriors in the entire continent? What would the result be? The result was very simple. Long Fei wanted to make a huge profit. Of course, Long Fei was thinking the same thing. If he could earn money, gain fame, and increase the influence of the Nantian region, why not? Chapter 954, Kill and Kill, Explosion. Chapter 954, Kill and Kill, Explosion. 18 matrial halls, right? Powerful beyond compare, right? I'm going to destroy you. Long Fei stood on the stage with incomparable arrogance and said, all geniuses of 18 matrial halls, come. I, Long Fei, will receive them all by myself. If you want to be arrogant, then be arrogant to the death. If they wanted to challenge, they had to challenge the 18 matrial halls together. God fending against gods, Buddha's defense against Buddhas, slaughter of Buddhas. Long Fei was just that arrogant, too arrogant. A senior disciple of the Green Dragon matrial hall flew down. The sword in his hand formed a illusion, and the powerful sword technique crushed the heavens, releasing a pressure of the 8th stage of the blood immortal stage. Brat die. 8th level blood immortal. His cultivation was 9 realms higher than Long Fei, an existence that was difficult to surpass. The sword techniques they trained in were also extremely powerful. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister As his lips curled up slightly, he laughed coldly and said, "You're the genius of Green Dragon Matrial Hall, right?" The moment the dragon Salyer fell, without waiting for that disciple to fall, the aura on Long Fei's body exploded. "Level 7 Peerless, open!" Boom! The energy in Long Fei's body suddenly exploded, and the dragon Salyer in his hand slashed down without hesitation. "Roar!" The black dragon roared. A black, dragon-shaped saber energy came crushing down. Crack! The sword broke, and before he could even land on the stage, he was killed instantly by Long Fei's blade. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing senior disciple of Green Dragon Matrial Hall for obtaining 3,900 experience, 200 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations, player! Long Fei took a look at the items that dropped and sighed in his heart. I did not manage to obtain a Tier 5 Immortal Root. Failure. He needed Grade 5 Immortal Roots. He really needed it. He couldn't release 3 billion experience. The dragon Salyer moved and carried the sword on its shoulder. Long Fei smirked and stared at Ouyang. "Continue." Whoosh, whoosh. 2 geniuses from the Green Dragon Matrial Hall rushed down. This time, their sword techniques were even more powerful, one in front and one behind, sealing Long Fei. There's no retreat. It was completely sealed off by the sword moves. I'm afraid Long Fei will be injured this time. Sigh. Why be so arrogant? Isn't it better to be a bit more restrained? Green Dragon Matrial Hall, the strongest existence in the God Emperor Academy. Every single disciple of the Green Dragon Matrial Hall are all super geniuses. They are all too strong. Just when everyone thought that Long Fei would be injured, Long Fei suddenly jumped. Humph! You'll die even if you jump into the air. Chapter 955, Challenge 16 Bosses. Chapter 955, Challenge 16 Bosses. The slaughter continued. No defense. When Long Fei unleashed his dragon chop, he did not defend and continued to kill crazily. Ding! Ding! Ding, ding, ding. The system beep continued to ring. However, he still did not reveal his Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. He was still at the 9th stage of the Virtual Immortals, but he just could not break through. Damn! I don't believe it. Long Fei heavily leaped. Sky Tyrant Strike. Violent Mountain Hit Fist. After sending a large group of people flying, Long Fei's fists exploded, smashing onto the genius disciples in the air randomly. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, they were blasted off the stage. It was also at this time Long Fei's body was covered with wounds, and blood gushed out like a spring. He did not stop. Ouyang did not stop either, and continued to shout. He's almost at his limit. He's almost at his limit. Go kill him. Long Fei was strong. His attacks were sharp and powerful. However, no matter how much stronger he was only a single person. He was unable to fight against the hundreds of senior disciples that came before him. As long as the Sea of Humans battle continued, Long Fei would definitely lose. The number of people who fell on the stage continued to increase, and Long Fei continued to kill even more crazily. His eyes were filled with blood. The moment his striking energy value reached 100 points, he would immediately release it. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing senior disciple of God Emperor Academy for obtaining 4,000 experience, 230 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the holy artifact, Rottenwood Godsword. Fuck, I don't want the holy artifact. I want the Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. Long Fei cursed angrily. He was really going to level up now. If he did not level up soon, he would not be able to hold on, because he had exhausted more than half of his health point. It seemed like his strength had not decreased at all, and instead, his killing intent had become fiercer and fiercer. However, the matter of him being injured was not fake, and his health point was also quickly decreasing. He had to level up. Only by upgrading his health point would he be able to recover instantly. Thus, he needed a Tier 5 Immortal Foundation. However, after killing dozens of blood immortal geniuses, all of them had absorbed a Grade 5 immortal root, but were still unable to do anything about it. It didn't matter if it was for the ordinary rate of explosion or the release of the striking energy values attributes. The only thing was that no 5th grade immortal roots had been obtained. Long Fei muttered, "System, damn you, are you trying to play me to death? Isn't the rate of dropping Immortal Foundation too low?" Chapter 956, Nox's Great Technique, Severing Platform. Chapter 956, Nox's Great Technique, Severing Platform, Pangu Axe. In that instant, Pan Sheng recognized him. The Pangu Axe was a holy artifact that had been passed down in the Pan family for millions of years. Pan Sheng could feel the aura flowing through its body in an instant. Buzz! The power in Pan Sheng's body suddenly sank. At this time, a disciple rushed over and said to Pan Sheng, "Young master, we just received news. The great clan elder, he. Pan Sheng said furiously, "Speak." The Pan family disciple said, "Great elder, you're dead. Their heads were chopped off." Cluck, cluck. Pan Sheng stared at Long Fei, who was on the stage. The anger in his heart was boiling, his teeth chattering loudly. "Long Fei, I will definitely use your life to accompany the great clan elder's death." He was already a child because of Panjan, so Panjan was extremely important to him. Who would have thought that she would actually die now? Pan Sheng's killing intent soared to the limit. In the arena, Long Fei carried his Pangu axe on his shoulder and gave off a vicious aura. Looking at the 16 bosses that surrounded him in a circle, the corners of his mouth slightly curled up as he let out a cold laugh. 16 Principal. You guys can also be considered as the 16 most powerful powerhouses, right? If I kill all of you, then this God Emperor Academy is my king. Ouyang Zhan sneered. "Long Fei, you think too much. Since you're so arrogant that you want to challenge our 16 principles, then don't think you can walk off the stage alive today. You will pay the price for being arrogant, for Principal Vermilion Bird, for the Elixir Branch. Kill him. Kill him. Kill him." The auras of the 16 became ferocious, and pressure after pressure pressed down on Long Fei's head like mountains. The 16 headmasters were all the other powerhouse of the Golden Immortal stage. Very, very strong. The pressure of 16 people combined together and smashed down once again. Long Fei's body suddenly sank as his legs trembled, unable to withstand this pressure. His mind and his sea of consciousness began to stir. Not even the Golden Dragon Guardian was able to withstand it. Long Fei's current level was too low, completely on a different level. Even the Golden Dragon Master's Dragon Guardian could not withstand it. Yan Huang Ancestor slightly said, "Brat, do you want me to make a move?" Yan Huang Ancestor had not fought for a long time. He could feel Long Fei's state of mind. His sea of consciousness was in intense turmoil. His mental state was on the verge of collapse. And Yan Huang Ancestor couldn't help but to worry for Long Fei. Long Fei laughed sinisterly and said, "No need. I will kill them myself." Ha ha. The stronger he was, the crazier he became. Long Fei said excitedly, "Is that all you have?" He became even more arrogant.